Chapter 981 Peerless Elegance. Bloodwing Clan. This time there is truly an existence that exceeds sovereign. A strong figure in the divine master realm, within the clan. At this moment, Elder Shuya said, "This time the heavenly cauldron has appeared. The ancient forbidden grounds opened, coinciding with our master's return from the cosmic sea. Heaven truly assists our Bloodwing Clan. This time, we must get our hands on that ancient temple spirit fire." In the Bloodwing Divine Palace, over 39 star sovereigns of the Bloodwing Clan stood, each one tremendously excited. Especially the few 9-star sovereigns selected to go to the ancient forbidden grounds, who spoke directly. This time our Bloodwing Clan has 6 territories where the Heavenly Cauldron appeared, releasing a total of 108 ancient Heavenly Cauldron orders, whereas the 9 Flames Clan only has 3 territories with the Heavenly Cauldron. How could they compare to us? Indeed, not only do we have many more ancient Heavenly Cauldron orders, but with the cosmic sea treasures bestowed to us by our master, this time, the 9 Flames Clan is absolutely no match for us. The ancient temple spirit fire can only be obtained by us. The ancient temple spirit fire is ranked 3rd on the Extreme Heaven Divine Fire list. The 9 Flames Clan has never been as strong as us, relying solely on their strongest clan members who possess the extremely powerful 13th ranked Heavenly Ghostly Fire, held by Elder Tianhua, to slightly surpass our clan at the peak of 9-star sovereigns. Once we acquire the ancient temple spirit fire, we can firmly suppress the 9 Flames Clan even more. Among these speaking 9-star sovereigns, earlier noticeably overjoyed at seeing shooting stars, was the elderly man whose hair and beard were white, training 3 young cultivators. Also included were a few 9-star sovereigns from the Blood Mist 13 stars, the Bloodwing Clan's most formidable branch. They all obtained qualifications to go to the ancient forbidden grounds this time. The Bloodwing Clan and 9 Flames Clan are the top-ranked supreme clans of the true spirit divine kingdom, constantly engaged in open and secret battles. This time, heading to the ancient forbidden grounds, the Bloodwing Clan undeniably holds the advantage, arousing excited discussions among the 9-star sovereigns. Amidst a clamor of discussions, the elder in the Divine Master Realm, seated at the highest position in the Bloodwing Divine Palace, finally spoke. This elder emitted no trace of divine power, appearing ordinary, yet when he spoke, an inexplicable pressure enveloped the entire Bloodwing Divine Palace, rendering the hall instantly silent. The Divine Master Realm exceeds the level of sovereign, capable of entering the more mysterious realm of the cosmic sea. 9-star sovereigns can be easily eliminated with a snap of the fingers, despite the power not being revealed. He is undeniably extraordinary. Beside the elder stood 2 individuals, a man and a woman, both around 20 years old, and both were in the Upper God King realm. The elder looked at everyone, speaking, "This time the 9 Flames Clan only had 3 territories with the Heavenly Cauldron. Added to what I have bestowed upon you, after going to the ancient forbidden grounds to compete against them, they should not be a concern. However, if you wish to successfully obtain the ancient temple spirit fire, you must not be careless in the slightest." The elder's words made Elder Shuya, the leading 9-star sovereign of Bloodwing Clan, promptly nod, "Yes, master. We will definitely not be negligent." Elder Shuya truly knew the might of his master, known by the title Blood Origin Divine Master. His master, Blood Origin Divine Master, is the strongest Divine Master in the current Divine Master realm of Bloodwing Clan within the cosmic sea. It was heard that even within the Divine Master realm, he is cultivated to the exceedingly powerful 8th Divine Master level, and has also been heard to join the powerful Cosmic Sea Force Ancestral God Temple. With such a powerhouse's admonishment, how could they not heed? "Master, we will certainly be cautious and strive to seize that ancient temple spirit fire." The other 9-star sovereigns also spoke up one after another. Seeing the respectful appearances of the 9-star sovereigns in the center, the elder nodded slightly. He continued, "Regarding the ancient forbidden grounds, I explored a bit after entering the cosmic sea. Numerous relics within this universe are associated with the ancestral God Temple. However, the 8 great forbidden lands of our true spirit divine kingdom are an exception. Even within the ancestral God Temple, I have not discovered their origins. Upon returning this time, I specifically went to survey each forbidden land. I also ventured into the ancient forbidden grounds. Even I, as an 8th divine master, sensed an exceedingly powerful and terrifying force of repulsion when approaching ancient forbidden grounds. It seemed as if were I to dare enter the ancient forbidden grounds, that power would directly annihilate me. I have the feeling that even if I possess the ancient heavenly cauldron order, I absolutely cannot step into the ancient forbidden grounds. Wow. The elder's words caused everyone present to change expressions dramatically. Even the young man and woman beside the elder's eyes sharply narrowed. The 9-star sovereigns of Blood Wing Clan had already heard that many Divine Master Realm experts returning from the Cosmic Sea had ventured into the ancient forbidden grounds. Yet little news spread afterwards. They had thought those Divine Master Realm experts took no interest in the treasures within the ancient forbidden grounds. Now they realize it wasn't that they took no interest. They simply couldn't enter the ancient forbidden grounds at all. No wonder for so many years, the ancient temple spirit fire still remains unclaimed within the ancient forbidden grounds. No wonder for so many years the ancient forbidden grounds still remains known as deadly forbidden lands. The elders' words raised their reverence for the ancient forbidden grounds even higher. Although they had already visited the ancient forbidden grounds several times, they only succeeded by relying on the ancient heavenly cauldron order and aligning their realm with the rules of the ancient forbidden grounds. Upon hearing of the power of the ancient forbidden grounds, already surpassing the divine might of an 8th divine master, naturally, they felt increasingly the unfathomable nature of the ancient forbidden grounds. The crowd's expressions fell into the gaze of the blood origin divine master, whose eyes grew more profound. Inside the ancient forbidden grounds lie absolute great secrets, even surpassing secrets beyond the divine master realm. Therefore, once you enter the ancient forbidden grounds this time, not only strive to acquire the ancient temple spirit fire, but also endeavor to explore ancient forbidden grounds deeper, attempting to uncover several secrets contained within. The ancient temple spirit fire, though an extreme heaven-grade divine fire, ranking 3rd on the extreme heaven divine fire list, its divine might will even aid you in the future as you step into the divine master realm further. Furthermore, I feel that the ancient temple spirit fire is not the most precious thing in the ancient forbidden grounds. You have also mentioned that during your past explorations of the ancient forbidden grounds, you only managed to explore a very small part, while the rest remained inaccessible. I sense that other areas hold even more valuable treasures. Perhaps they might be of significant use to us divine masters. Therefore, using the items I provided to you, you must strive to explore other areas. At this point, the elder looked towards the young man and woman beside him. Ling Chan, Fei Yen, both of you are the young talents our clan is focusing on cultivating. Over the years, I've sent countless items for your cultivation from the Cosmic Sea, previously instructing you to hide your strength and cultivate within the clan. This time, you also need to venture into the ancient forbidden grounds. This is your first opportunity to showcase your strength, so do not disappoint me. The young man beside the elder spoke arrogantly. Even though I am only at the God King realm, under the upbringing of our great ancestors, no youth can rival me. Rest assured, great ancestor, the young talents from the 9 Flames clan won't fare well against me this time. I will certainly strive to explore every corner of the ancient forbidden grounds. The young woman beside the elder had extremely beautiful features, yet her narrow eyes bore a naturally cold expression that made people uncomfortable. She spoke coldly at this moment. Great ancestor, your blood-refining 9 nether divine skills have long granted Fei Yen the power to sweep away all immortal divine venerables, and possesses numerous unique divine skills beyond this universe. The ancient forbidden grounds, Fei Yen will surely help you to thoroughly explore. The words of this young man and woman caused the elder to nod in satisfaction. The ancient Forbidden Grounds has a rule allowing only 18 people from the sovereign realm to enter, with the rest permitted from realms below the sovereign realm. Such specific rules make the Elder feel that the secrets hidden within the ancient Forbidden Grounds must be linked to the sovereign realm and those below it. In the sovereign realm, the 9 9-star sovereigns that the Bloodwing clan is dispatching to the ancient Forbidden Grounds, the Elder felt assured. Now, for those below the sovereign realm, with his focus on cultivating Shuling Chan and blood-flying Yen, he finally felt completely reassured. Alright, the quota for entering the ancient Forbidden Grounds is confirmed. Prepare yourselves further, and then go venture into that ancient Forbidden Grounds. Finally, the words of the Blood Origin Divine Master echoed within the Bloodwing Divine Palace, resonating continuously. As the 9 Flames clan and Bloodwing clan finished arranging their personnel to enter the ancient Forbidden Grounds, the 10 Heaven Cauldron meteors, which had devoured 9 domains, finally traversed countless distances and flew into the well-known deadly forbidden lands of the true Spirit Divine Kingdom, the ancient Forbidden Grounds. Looking towards the ancient Forbidden Grounds, one could see an enormous black vortex standing tall in the starry sky, surrounded entirely by darkness, larger than countless stars. Only occasionally does divine light shoot out from the black vortex, allowing one to faintly discern countless ridges, abysses, and ghostly seas emerging within. Boom! 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 Once the 10 Heaven Cauldron meteors flew within the black vortex range of the ancient Forbidden Grounds, they were immediately engulfed, disappearing into the grounds. After devouring the 10 meteors, the black vortex above the ancient Forbidden Grounds appeared with a fiery red pattern. From afar, it appeared to be a pattern on the black vortex. But upon closer inspection, it was indeed a fiery red pathway laid onto the black vortex. This fiery red pathway is precisely the ancient heavenly path that can be accessed with the ancient heavenly cauldron order to enter the ancient Forbidden Grounds. Looking from the ancient heavenly path into the black vortex of the ancient Forbidden Grounds, one could see at its outer perimeter a giant, sky-reaching peak atop which stands an ancient temple. The back of the ancient temple was shrouded by endless smoke and clouds, rendering it impossible to see what lay beyond. If supreme experts from the 9 Flames clan and Bloodwing clan, who once visited the ancient Forbidden Grounds, saw this ancient temple, they would certainly recognize it, as inside lies the treasure they longed for but couldn't obtain, the ancient temple spirit fire. At this moment, neither Yi Chun, the 9 Flames clan, nor the Bloodwing clan realized that those 10 meteors which flew into the ancient Forbidden Grounds all arrived in the void outside the ancient temple and started spinning wildly. Amidst the wild spinning, the previous scenario of Yi Chun, Kai Menger and others resisting the Heavenly Cauldron transformation to acquire the ancient Heavenly Cauldron order began showcasing throughout the entire void. The scenes of others resisting the Heavenly Cauldron transformation didn't stir much change. However, the scene where Yi Chun exterminated countless dark ancient demons and eventually transformed himself into one immediately triggered a bizarre transformation within the ancient Forbidden Grounds. Boom! 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 As if a curtain was being torn open. Just when Yi Chen's scenario of obtaining the ancient Heavenly Cauldron order appeared within the void, the domain behind the ancient temple, shrouded in endless smoke and clouds, instantly cleared, revealing an array of even taller peaks. And these peaks, similar to the one holding the ancient temple, also had ancient temples erected upon them, each taller than the last. Altogether, a total of 18 ancient temples. These peaks with ancient temples stretched from the outskirts of the ancient Forbidden Grounds to its deepest core, and within the deepest ancient temple of the entire ancient Forbidden Grounds, an extraordinary, unparalleled woman sat cross-legged within. At the moment Yi Chen's scenario of acquiring the ancient Heavenly Cauldron order emerged, this woman seemed to sense something and abruptly opened her eyes. Chapter 982-Arrival. This woman, clad in white, was immaculate and pure, with an unparalleled aura, as if she were not of this universe. Her black hair cascaded like a waterfall, reaching down to the ground where she sat cross-legged, each strand faintly emanating dazzling starlight. If the blood origin divine master of the blood-winged clan were to see this woman, he would surely be terrified and prostrate himself on the ground. He would surely recognize that the realm of this woman was far beyond his reach, far surpassing the divine master realm. At this moment, the woman opened her eyes and looked at the outermost of the 18 ancient temples, where Yi Chen's figure, acquiring the ancient heavenly cauldron order, appeared in the void above the temple. Her eyes revealed a look of disbelief. This young man, why does he have a sensation of my mentor's divine origin? Could he be the successor of my mentor? My mentor is the pinnacle of the cosmic sea. When I left the cosmic sea, she was resisting the great enemy of the cosmic sea alongside other star lords, the starry sky demon. My mentor always said she wouldn't take any more disciples. But now this young man has the sensation of my mentor's divine origin. Could there have been changes with my mentor? Considering that change, whether good or bad, the extraordinary woman also showed signs of anxiety in her eyes. Unfortunately, by my mentor's order, I am suppressing the eye of the demon here and cannot leave. The power of the eye of the demon beneath this ancient temple has grown increasingly strong lately. I cannot act recklessly, lest a single mistake occur. Otherwise, I could inquire this young man thoroughly and even return to the cosmic sea to investigate. Peering into the ancient temple at the deepest part of the heavenly ancient forbidden grounds where the woman sat, one could see rows of divine chains emanating from her, a total of 81 chains, locking down the entire ground beneath the ancient temple. And in the places bound by the 81 divine chains, black light frequently surged as if trying to break free from the chains. Each time the black light surged, the chains emitted blinding white light, suppressing the black light back into disappearance. Clearly, this woman was within a mysterious grand formation, manipulating a suppression formation. These 18 ancient temples were built countless years ago by a mighty being. Each temple conceals divine might, and ultimately, the endless divine might converges inside the temple I guard, above the eye of the demon. Coupled with my divine chains guarding it, I can ensure that the eye of the demon here remains foolproof, ensuring that the starry sky demon cannot use the eye of the demon here to invade this universe. However, the mighty being who left behind the 18 ancient temples also left countless dangers and opportunities within this heavenly ancient forbidden grounds, and it is unknown what purpose those dangers and opportunities serve. As I guard the eye of the demon here, I must rely on the divine might of the ancient temple, and cannot recklessly destroy the dangers and opportunities here. Everything must be left to happen naturally. Seeing that young man achieving the ancient heavenly cauldron order, it seems they are again attempting to enter the heavenly ancient forbidden grounds, stepping into the opportunities and dangers left by the mighty being who left the temples. Previously, they couldn't even break through the outermost temple, so the crises they faced were minimal. However, lately, I have faintly felt changes occurring within the temples, and the opportunities and dangers outside have also changed. I fear that this time, those entering the heavenly ancient forbidden grounds will encounter completely different circumstances than before, facing even harsher and unpredictable threats. Thinking of this, the woman also showed a trace of concern. That young man seems to be entering the heavenly ancient forbidden grounds. I hope he doesn't get harmed amid the changing crises. Unfortunately, I cannot leave this place, nor can I interfere and warn him of the ancient temple. Everything must rely on him, since he has the sensation of my mentor's divine origin. He should also have some of my mentor's techniques, which would make him a bit safer. The extraordinary woman sighed as she concluded her thoughts. I must continue to cultivate. If I can break through from the Cosmic Emperor realm to the Star Lord realm, I will be able to completely seal the eye of the demon here. At that time, I can ask this young man why he has my mentor's divine origin. At that time, I can return to the cosmic sea to see what has happened with my mentor. The woman muttered to herself, her eyes flashing with brilliance. Finally, she closed her eyes once more. Moments later, the deepest ancient temple where the woman sat, along with the mountain peaks of other temples outside, once again vanished into the endless smoke and clouds. As before, only the outermost temple mountain where the ancient temple spirit fire was present stood alone outside the smoke and clouds. If Yi Chun heard the woman's words, he would be extraordinarily shocked. This woman actually recognized the starry origin induced by his Tai divine power, and from her words, it seems she has a significant connection with the ZG Star Lord, who left the starry origin. More astonishingly, this woman is said to be in the Cosmic Emperor realm. It must be noted that in the Cosmic Sea, the Cosmic Emperor realm is only second to the Star Lord realm, and above any Divine Master realm, powerful countless times over. In this true Spirit Divine Kingdom, it's truly unbelievable that there exists a strong being of the Cosmic Emperor realm. Moreover, from the information revealed by the woman, it's clear that the ancient Forbidden Grounds aren't as simple as they seem on the surface. Otherwise, there wouldn't be a Cosmic Emperor specifically guarding it. Of course, all these matters regarding the secrets of the Cosmic Emperor and even the Star Lord are far distant from Yi Chun. What the woman mentioned, however, is that this time, the ancient Forbidden Grounds will be drastically different from previous times, posing greater dangers and crises, making it closely relevant to Yi Chun and others who are about to enter the ancient Forbidden Grounds. Unfortunately, Yi Chun is completely unaware that the ancient Forbidden Grounds will be drastically different. The people from the Nine Flames clan and the Bloodwing clan chosen to enter the ancient Forbidden Grounds are equally unaware that they will encounter a terrible situation this time. At this moment, all the confirmed candidates set to enter the ancient Forbidden Grounds are eagerly flying towards it from various places. Yi Chun, who had gathered with Kai Menger, had been waiting for a long time before finally seeing the people from the 10,000 Spirits Medicine Pavilion, led by Kai Meng, the father of the Kai sisters Kai Menger and Kai Shower. This was a few hours after Yi Chun had gathered with Kai Menger. Yi Chun was talking with Kai Shower when he suddenly caught sight of a flying boat much more phenomenal than the 7-star sovereign flying boat he had previously boarded, gliding across the starry sky towards them. When Yi Chun saw this flying boat, the little girl Kai Shower beside him also saw it. The little girl excitedly jumped up. "Yi Chun, my daddy's here." Boom! 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 In the instant Kai Shower spoke, the flying boat traversed the starry sky and arrived before the group. Following this, over 20 figures flew down from the flying boat. Leading them was the 10,000 Spirits Medicine Pavilion Overseer, the 9-star sovereign Kai Meng, who had appeared in the Nine Flames Divine City before. Upon descending, Kai Meng immediately recognized Yi Chun, standing among the members of the 10,000 Spirits Medicine Pavilion with Kai Shower and Kai Menger. He put away the flying boat and cheerfully smiled at Yi Chun. This must be the young friend Yi Chun mentioned by Shower. Younger Yi Chun greets the elder. Hearing the words from the 9-star sovereign Kai Meng, Yi Chun felt a jolt in his heart and bowed with cupped fists towards Kai Meng. At this moment, Kai Shower flew directly to Kai Meng's side, looked at her father, and asked, "Daddy, did you bring the training materials Yi Chun brother needed?"
Seoi Sioar hadn't forgotten her promise to Yi Chun.
As soon as her father arrived, she inquired straightaway. Brought them. Kai Meng lovingly patted Kai Shower's little head, and then looked at Yi Chun. "Young friend Yi Chun, we 10,000 Spirits Medicine Pavilion only had part of what you needed, and I gathered some more from other friends. Don't mind if it's not much." As he spoke, Kai Meng flicked his finger, and a storage ring flew directly towards Yi Chun. Yi Chun took the storage ring and looked inside, and he was overjoyed. He originally thought the 10,000 Spirits Medicine Pavilion would only manage to gather a dozen or so of the materials he needed for the Eternal God Body's remaining 3 great divine patterns. But unexpectedly, there were over 100 kinds of materials inside the ring. Looking carefully at these materials, Yi Chun discovered that everything needed for his training's Water God pattern was now complete, and even the materials for the Fire Divine pattern and Chaos Divine pattern were more than half complete. This was simply an unexpected delight. This meant that after training in the Earth Divine pattern and Wind Divine pattern, Yichun could now begin training in the water god pattern of the eternal god body. He was getting closer to completing the 5 great divine patterns of the eternal god body. Elder, the value of these materials is too precious. The materials Kai Meng gave were far more valuable than the 17 divine light clusters Yichun had given to Kai Shower, making Yichun feel a bit embarrassed. How about I give you some purple silver pearls in exchange for these materials? Just as Yichun mentioned purple silver pearls, Kai Meng waved his hand, smiled and said, "Young friend Yichun, no need to be polite. While these materials are valuable to you, we 10,000 Spirits Medicine Pavilion specifically collect many materials, so it's not much for us. By comparison, I believe those 17 divine light clusters are even more precious." As he spoke, Kai Meng admired Yichun even more. Kai Meng knew that purple silver pearls were hard currency in this universe, possessed by many sovereign-level beings. Yichun's mention of purple silver pearls indicated that someone of sovereign level or beyond was supporting the young man. His little daughter had said Yichun was remarkable, and upon meeting him, Kai Meng could see Yichun's extraordinary presence. Chapter 983 - News of Insha. Upon hearing that Kai Meng didn't want the purple silver pearl, Yichun's heart stirred, and something else appeared in his hand. "I have some divine milk here which can help a martial artist at the peak of a certain realm break through the realm. I'll give it to the 10,000 Spirits Medicine Pavilion." Yichun initially obtained thousands of drops of divine milk from within the land of demon tombs. Just a couple of drops of divine milk are of great use to a divine venerable, and he directly divided hundreds of drops, handing them to Kai Meng. Divine milk? Could it be the legendary breakthrough miracle from the mountain divine nation? This time, Kai Meng did not refuse and accepted the small bottle containing divine milk from Yichun. When he saw that it truly contained the divine milk he had heard of, Kai Meng's face showed an expression of excitement. The divine milk may not be useful to him, a 9-star sovereign, but it is of great use to the god kings and divine venerables of the 10,000 Spirits Medicine Pavilion. It could be used by his 2 daughters, Kai Menger and Kai Shower, in their future breakthroughs. Great! This divine milk is indeed a valuable thing. I will accept it. Kai Meng laughed heartily and collected the hundreds of drops of divine milk. Young friend Yichun has such a good thing as divine milk. Could it be that young friend Yichun is from the mountain divine nation? Kai Meng asked Yichun. Yichun hadn't expected the fame of divine milk to have spread from the mountain divine nation to the true spirit divine kingdom. He smiled and replied to Kai Meng, "Senior, indeed Junior comes from the mountain divine nation." However, as he smiled, Yichun suddenly felt a shock in his heart, and his expression changed. He thought of something extremely urgent. Since the name of divine milk has been heard by this 9-star sovereign Kai Meng, logically, other strong practitioners of the true spirit divine kingdom should have heard it too. If that's the case, then the General Insha, whom he was looking for in the true spirit divine kingdom, should also have heard of the fame of divine milk. Moreover, divine milk is the miraculous object refined by Huyen Divine Master, the teacher of General Insha. If General Insha hears that divine milk spread from the mountain divine nation, she should certainly think that her master, Huyen Divine Master, is there in the mountain divine nation. With General Insha's strength, she surely could find the land of demon tombs and locate where Huyen Divine Master fell. But in these many years, General Insha has never gone to the land of demon tombs. Rather, it was Huyen Divine Master who sent him to find General Insha. Then there's only one possibility, that General Insha simply hasn't heard about divine milk, and thus hasn't gone to find Huyen Divine Master. General Insha is in the true spirit divine kingdom, yet hasn't heard about divine milk. It's very likely that something happened to General Insha after returning to true spirit divine kingdom that prevented her from hearing outside news. Thinking of this, Yichun felt a chill in his heart. He must help Huyen Divine Master find General Insha, as it is related to his life and safety, especially since he still carries the curse left behind by Huyen Divine Master. If General Insha indeed encountered trouble, then his chances of finding General Insha could be slim. The change in Yi Chen's expression was noticed by Kai Meng, who was stunned. "What's wrong, young friend Yi Chen?" Yi Chen took a deep breath. He asked Kai Meng, "Senior, you are a strong 9-star sovereign. Have you heard of a senior in the true spirit divine kingdom called General Insha?" That senior is a female sovereign and also a sovereign of one of the 5 supreme clans in the true spirit divine kingdom, the Extreme Spirit Clan. Regarding Huyen Divine Master had instructed not to divulge, so Yi Chen couldn't tell Kai Meng all the details. He could only inquire if he knew General Insha, sovereign of the Extreme Spirit Clan. General Insha. Kai Meng wrinkled his brow, falling into deep thought. A few breaths later, he seemed to recall something, saying to Yi Chen, "The Extreme Spirit Clan is in the southernmost part of the true Spirit Divine Kingdom, in the Extreme Spirit Sea area, with very little interaction with the other tribes, so their information is also sparse. However, the title Sovereign Insha I've heard of, but that's something from tens of thousands of years ago. Tens of thousands of years ago, I heard she apprenticed to a divine master and cultivated with them. But later, there was no news. Why? Does young friend Yi Chen know someone from the Extreme Spirit Clan?" Kai Meng's words jolted Yi Chen's heart. Things from tens of thousands of years ago. Yi Chen heard Huyen Divine Master say that he and General Insha parted ways also tens of thousands of years ago. At that time, General Insha had urgent business to return to True Spirit Divine Kingdom. Could it be, after returning to the True Spirit Divine Kingdom, General Insha hasn't made an appearance for tens of thousands of years? Something must have happened. Yi Chen didn't expect, when General Insha returned to the True Spirit Divine Kingdom, she avoided the death threat from Huyen Divine Master, not dying alongside Huyen Divine Master in the land of demon tombs. Yet she seemed to be caught up in another trouble. It seems I will face quite a few twists and turns in finding General Insha. Yi Chen felt heavy-hearted. He originally thought finding General Insha wouldn't be too difficult. He hadn't expected so many obstacles to arise out of nowhere. Luckily, there's still more than 2 years. When I go to the Extreme Spirit Clan, I will surely find out the reason why General Insha hasn't appeared for tens of thousands of years. During these more than 2 years, I also need to diligently study the Skywind medical scripture I obtained at Heavenly God Mountain. The Skywind medical scripture is left by the Skywind Divine Master, who is also an alchemy grandmaster in the Divine Master realm. Perhaps there is a way to lift the curse power left by Huyen Divine Master. If, in the end, I cannot find General Insha, using the Skywind medical scripture to lift the curse power might be the only option. Yi Chen suppressed many thoughts in his heart. He could only take one step at a time. Thinking of Kai Meng's question, Yi Chen steadied his mind and replied, "Senior, I don't know anyone from the Extreme Spirit Clan, but I do have some connections with them. Later, I will also be heading to the Extreme Spirit Clan." From Yi Chen's expression, Kai Meng, the 9-star sovereign, could also tell that Yi Chen certainly had significant ties with the Extreme Spirit Clan. "Yi Chen, my young friend, if you're heading to the Extreme Spirit Clan, I'll take you there after we come out from the Celestial Ancient Forbidden Land," Kai Meng said to Yi Chen. "Thank you, Senior." If Kai Meng, a 9-star sovereign, truly escorted him, Yi Chen could indeed save a lot of travel time. This naturally delighted Yi Chen, serving as a piece of good news among the bad. After chatting for a while, when Yi Chen and Kai Meng finally finished their conversation, Kai Shower beside them could hardly wait. "Dad, brother Yi Chen, if you have anything to say it on the road. We must hurry to the Celestial Ancient Forbidden Land." Kai Shower's words caused Kai Meng to let out a surprised smile. He nodded, his eyes looking towards the direction of the Celestial Ancient Forbidden Land. "Yes, we must hurry to the Celestial Ancient Forbidden Land. By now, many from our clan and the Bloodwing clan have likely already reached the Celestial Ancient Forbidden Land. Now, I'll decide who will go to the Celestial Ancient Forbidden Land, and then we'll set off, after half a cup of tea, 2 flying boats lifted off from the ground. One headed towards the celestial ancient forbidden land, while the other flew towards another site managed by the 10,000 Spirits Medicine Pavilion. On the flying boat heading to the celestial ancient forbidden land, there were Kai Meng, Yi Chun, Kai Shower, Kai Menger, and more than a dozen immortal divine venerable level martial artists from the 10,000 Spirits Medicine Pavilion that Kai Meng had brought. Yi Chun obtained 18 divine light clusters, and Kai Menger also obtained 18 divine light clusters. Besides Yi Chun, Kai Menger, and Kai Shower, who recognized 3 ancient heavenly cauldron orders, the other ancient heavenly cauldron orders had not yet been recognized. Without Kai Meng's arrangement, others dared not randomly claim ownership. Even the few sovereigns who had followed Kai Menger initially, upon seeing the outbreak of the heavenly cauldron transformation, voluntarily avoided the area where the divine light of the heavenly cauldron shone, leaving only Kai Menger and Kai Shower to obtain the ancient heavenly cauldron orders. According to the regulations of the Nine Flames clan, only 9 sovereigns of the Nine Flames clan may enter the celestial ancient forbidden land. Naturally, others dared not violate clan rules and disrupt personnel arrangements. At the same time, Kai Meng also had to submit half of the ancient heavenly cauldron orders to the clan for collective distribution, keeping only the remaining half for himself. Therefore, Kai Meng arranged for those divine light clusters he could use to be claimed by those powerful martial artists below the sovereign realm in the 10,000 Spirits Medicine Pavilion, before taking Yi Chun and others to fly toward the celestial ancient forbidden land. The remaining people from the 10,000 Spirits Medicine Pavilion were led by a 7-star sovereign to another domain to complete other assignments for the 10,000 Spirits Medicine Pavilion. As Kai Shower had said, under the leadership of Kai Meng, their speed towards the celestial ancient forbidden land was indeed swift. Approximately half a day later, Yi Chun traversed countless distances and saw from afar an enormous black whirlpool in the cosmic starry sky, larger than countless stars. Brother Yi Chun, that is the celestial ancient forbidden land, the little girl Kai Shower exclaimed excitedly beside Yi Chun. It was also Kai Shower's first time truly coming to the celestial ancient forbidden land. She had only ever heard its name, but now, at last, she saw what the celestial ancient forbidden land truly looked like. Celestial ancient forbidden land. Yi Chun also looked at the enormous black whirlpool, noticing the shadows of countless ridges, abysses, and dark seas faintly transpiring above it. Yi Chun further noticed the fiery red pattern channel above the black whirlpool. That should be the celestial ancient road that Senior Kai Meng mentioned, the path into the celestial ancient forbidden land. While Yi Chun's eyes gleamed brightly, Kai Meng looked in a direction outside the celestial ancient forbidden land. Many people had already gathered there. Among them, the sovereign realm individuals were all 9-star sovereigns, and those below the sovereign realm were all extraordinarily strong in divine power. Among them were familiar faces from the Nine Flames clan, and even the Bloodwing clan, the old rivals of the Nine Flames clan, and the first ranked of the 5 supreme clans in the true spirit divine kingdom. Boom! Kai Meng drove the flying boat, bringing Yi Chun and the others directly to that gathering area. Friend Kai Meng. When Kai Meng flew down from the flying boat, a few 9-star sovereigns who arrived first from the Nine Flames clan came to greet him. Yi Chun also flew down from the flying boat. At this point, Yi Chun noticed that not only were the people of the Nine Flames clan curiously observing him, but even many from the Bloodwing clan glanced at him with deep and pensive looks. Chapter 984, Abnormalities. Yi Chun discovered that besides the few 9-star sovereigns, the clansmen from the Nine Flame clan and Bloodwing clan that arrived were mostly immortal divine venerables, and all of them were upper immortal divine venerables. Occasionally, there were several earthly and heavenly divine venerables, and their combat power evidently reached the level of immortal divine venerables. Brother Yi Chun, these people certainly did not expect that you, someone not from our 2 clans, would come to the ancient forbidden land. They surely don't know your prowess, whispered the little girl, Kai Shower, beside Yi Chun. Only 18 sovereigns can enter the ancient forbidden land. Our clan and the Blood Wing clan will each have 9 sovereigns entering. Presumably, both clans have chosen 9-star sovereigns to enter. The remaining candidates can only be those below the sovereign realm. Other than ones like me and my sister who have obtained the Heavenly Cauldron Ancient Order ourselves, the remaining candidates are likely the most powerful immortal divine venerables selected by various branches of the clans. Hence, there are so many upper immortal divine venerables present. However, I feel that none of these upper immortal divine venerables are as formidable as Brother Yi-chun. The little girl Kai Shower knew well enough that Yi-chun, on his own power, countered the Heavenly Cauldron transformation and obtained 18 divine light clusters, unlike her sister's side, which required her sister, and several sovereigns help to withstand the Heavenly Cauldron transformation. Even though the clans have selected the strongest immortal divine venerables, in Kai Shower's eyes, those who can single-handedly contend against countless upper immortal divine venerable level demons during the Heavenly Cauldron transformation likely number very few. Yi-chun gently nodded at this moment. On the way here, he had already heard the 9-star sovereign Kai Meng mention the entry rules of the ancient Forbidden Land. Those 18 9-star sovereigns about to enter the ancient Forbidden Land, Yi-chun definitely could not match. However, as for the remaining candidates below the sovereign realm, Yi-chun is entirely unafraid. Let alone Yi-chun's current combat power already capable of sweeping through figures at the Immortal Divine Venerable level. Having long reached the limits of Immortal Divine Venerable level combat power, Yi-chun has countless means like the copper gong and wooden hammer, leveraging the prototype of the extreme heavenly object, Purple-Blue Thunderflower, and the Purple-Blue Thunderstone, which brought a new transformation to the Star-Blue Divine Garment, all of which can absolutely restrain all figures below the sovereign realm. Moreover, there are Yi-chun's techniques such as Tai Divine Power, Great Change of Tai, and Starry Origin Power, Blue Divine Soul, among other means. It can be said that others may not know all of Yi-chun's methods, but Yi-chun himself has absolute confidence that besides the 9-star sovereigns in the arena, he can definitely defeat all figures below the sovereign realm. This is Yi-chun's absolute confidence. This is also Yi-chun's reason for daring to venture into the ancient Forbidden Land. Although Yi-chun has absolute confidence at this moment, in the eyes of members from both the Nine Flame clan and the Blood Wing clan, the perspective isn't quite the same. Particularly the old adversary of the Nine Flame clan, the Blood Wing clan, among which many upper immortal divine venerables exhibited derisive expressions, secretly messaging the familiar upper immortal divine venerables of the Nine Flame clan. A mere junior god king dares to come to the ancient Forbidden Land? And he's not even from our true spirit divine kingdom? Which branch of your Nine Flame clan does he have ties with? At this level, coming to the ancient Forbidden Land, isn't that courting death? That Kaimenger is at the Earth Divine Venerable Realm. Kai Shower, although at the True God Realm, is rumored to possess a special divine body. Her combat power surpasses many upper immortal divine venerables. Plus, they are the daughters of Kai Meng Sovereign. It's understandable they obtained the Heavenly Cauldron Ancient Order to come here. A mere junior god king tagging along with the Nine Flame clan to this place. The Nine Flame clan certainly is becoming more and more unimpressive. Such derisive remarks from the upper immortal divine venerables of the Blood Wing clan fell upon the ears of the upper immortal divine venerables of the Nine Flame clan, reddening their faces. They too did not know why Yi-chun, the junior god king, would come along with the group from the 10,000 Spirits Medicine Pavilion. Although Kai Meng had informed the 9-star sovereigns of the Nine Flame clan about Yi-chun obtaining the Heavenly Cauldron Ancient Order, the 9-star sovereigns of the Nine Flame clan naturally wouldn't communicate these matters to those below. In these immortal divine venerables' view, they truly thought Yi-chun relied on Kai Meng's connections to obtain a Heavenly Cauldron Ancient Order. This junior god king is probably connected to Kai Meng's sovereign somehow, and after encountering the Heavenly Cauldron transformation alongside Kai Menger and Kai Shower, managed to obtain a Heavenly Cauldron Ancient Order. Alas, since it's Kai Meng's sovereign's business, we dare not interfere excessively, but if this junior god king gets into trouble in the ancient Forbidden Land, it'll certainly reflect poorly on our Nine Flame clan as he's come with us. a thought shared by many upper immortal divine venerables of the Nine Flame clan. The individuals below the sovereign realm not only assessed Yi Chun but also sized up other personnel, speculating on each other's strength. After all, 18 nine-star sovereigns are undoubtedly superior to their level, while these figures below the sovereign realm will certainly see conflicts below such realms. By this time, the arrived 9-star sovereigns began conversing among themselves. Of course, the 9-star sovereigns wouldn't concern themselves with the matters of those below the sovereign realm. They brought these individuals due to the rules of the ancient Forbidden Land. For them, these 9-star sovereigns are the absolute main force of the ancient Forbidden Land, and their focal point is on how to obtain the third-ranked Ancient Temple Spirit Fire on the Extreme Heaven Divine Fire list. As everyone continued observing, amidst discussions among the several 9-star sovereigns, new 9-star sovereigns continued arriving with their teams. The personnel outside the ancient Forbidden Land steadily increased. And when the strongest from both clans, Elder Tianhua of the Nine Flame clan and Elder Shuya of the Blood Wing clan, arrived with the final batch of individuals, the atmosphere in the arena reached its peak directly. At this moment, all 9 9-star sovereigns of the Nine Flame clan had arrived, and all 9 9-star sovereigns of the Blood Wing clan had similarly arrived. Bang! Bang! Elder Tianhua and Elder Shuya exchanged glances. The eye contact between these two leading figures bore a particularly significant meaning. Both knew that for the ancient temple spirit fire, within the ancient Forbidden Land, a bout of rivalry was unavoidable. Beside Elder Shuya were Shuling Chan and Blood Flying Yen, both drawing the gaze of many immortal divine venerables from the Blood Wing clan. Although Shuling Chan and Blood Flying Yen, like Yi Chun, are in the Upper God King realm, they dare not underestimate these two as they did with Yi Chun. They already learned from their clan's strong members that these two were formidable figures cultivated by someone beyond a sovereign, the Blood Origin Divine Master, making them the strongest among those below the sovereign realm in this mission. Even the immortal divine venerates of the Nine Flames clan could tell the extraordinariness of these two young individuals, a man and a woman standing beside Elder Shuya. However, Shuling Chan and Blood Flying Yen seemed indifferent to the countless gazes. Shuling Chan coldly surveyed the two clans members below the sovereign realm with a look of disdain, while Blood Flying Yen closed her eyes as if everything was irrelevant to her. Once everyone gathered, Elder Shuya from the Blood Wing clan and Elder Tianhua from the Nine Flames clan began collecting and distributing the unclaimed divine light clusters to recognize their masters. In the crowd, Yi Chen's gaze turned towards the 18 9-star sovereigns of the two clans. Seeing 18 9-star sovereigns at once, even the powerful Yi Chun was somewhat shaken. After all, Yi Chun had never seen so many 9-star sovereigns at one time. Yi Chun once again recognized the power of the true spirit divine kingdom. All right, now that everyone is here, we should enter the ancient forbidden grounds. Once all the divine light clusters recognized their masters, the leader of the Blood Wing clan, Elder Shuya, glanced at Elder Tianhua of the Nine Flames clan, saying, "Tianhua, please go ahead." Elder Tianhua also smiled gently. "Shuya, after you." Though the leaders were very polite, everyone knew it was just superficial politeness. Within the ancient forbidden grounds, to fight for the ancient temple spirit fire and other polar sky level divine fires and objects, conflict and even killing were inevitable. At this moment of moving forward, other 9-star sovereigns swiftly flew back to their respective groups. Kai Meng approached Yi Chan and the members of the 10,000 Spirits Medicine Pavilion, saying to Yi Chan and others, "Once inside the ancient forbidden grounds, stay by my side. Do not act alone unless I instruct you." "Yes, Pavilion Master." The immortal divine venerates of the 10,000 Spirits Medicine Pavilion all nodded. Yi Chun also nodded. "Now, remember the spell I taught you. Activate the ancient heavenly cauldron order, and follow the main group into the ancient forbidden grounds." Kai Meng transmitted this message to everyone. As Kai Meng transmitted the message, other 9-star sovereigns also communicated with their subordinates. Finally, after the transmission, led by Elder Tianhua and Elder Shuya, members of both clans started along the ancient heavenly path towards the massive black vortex of the ancient Forbidden Grounds. In no time, the two clans' 18 nine-star sovereigns and 162 individuals below the sovereign realm completely entered the black vortex of the ancient Forbidden Grounds. From outside the starry sky, they were no longer visible. Walking on the ancient heavenly path, protected by the spell to activate the ancient heavenly cauldron order, Yichun found himself seemingly walking through a sea of fire. Everything around was unclear, and even other people became invisible once entering the ancient heavenly path. Kai Meng had already explained this to him, so Yichun wasn't worried. Yichun knew that after walking for approximately 2 hours, they would reach a teleportation divine formation and be directly transmitted into the internal world of the ancient Forbidden Grounds to regroup. Yichun continued moving. After 2 hours, he indeed saw a teleportation divine formation. Yichun stepped into the teleportation divine formation, and upon activating his ancient heavenly cauldron order, he vanished from the array. The next moment, as Yichun regained consciousness, he found himself in a vast valley. With a glance, Yichun was suddenly startled, realizing that he was the only one in the entire valley. What's going on? Didn't Senior Kai Meng say that once everyone enters the internal world of the ancient Forbidden Grounds, they will be transmitted together, and then proceed towards the giant peak where the ancient temple spirit fire is located? Why am I the only one here? Yichun wasn't the only one shocked. At this moment, everyone who entered the ancient Forbidden Grounds, whether it was Elder Tianhua, Elder Shuya, or other individuals below the sovereign realm, all had their expressions drastically change, because everyone discovered that upon entering the internal world of the ancient Forbidden Grounds, they appeared alone in one location without anyone else around. This is not good. This situation is different from any previous occurrence. There is a change inside the ancient Forbidden Grounds. It's different now. Elder Tianhua, looking at the vast ocean before him, and Elder Shuya, staring at the ice-cold snow-capped peak he stood on, both exclaimed in shock. Chapter 985-9 Beasts Cauldron and 9 Profound Threads. Not only were Elder Tianhua and Elder Shuya shocked, all the 9-star sovereigns who had once entered the ancient Forbidden Grounds were astonished. When they entered the ancient Forbidden Grounds back then, they gathered together in a large canyon. But now, their current locations are completely different from before. Even the ancient temple peak, which contained the ancient temple spirit fire, and was visible from afar, is now unseen. No one knows where they are or how to proceed towards the mountain peak where the ancient temple spirit fire resides. Looking down from the void heaven over the entire ancient Forbidden Grounds, one can see that countless locations previously deemed Forbidden Grounds have been opened. Currently, 18 sovereigns from the Bloodwing clan and 9 Flames clan are scattered across 18 different areas. And outside the areas where the 18 sovereigns are located, 162 personnel below the sovereign realm, just like Yichun, are scattered across various valleys. Kai Menger, Kai Shower, Shuling Chan, Blood Flying Yen, and others are each in their own valley. At this moment, not only did Kai Menger and Kai Shower's complexions change drastically, but even the always composed Shuling Chan and Blood Flying Yen looked utterly astonished. After all, they initially thought they would be with the 9-star sovereigns, but now they find themselves alone in a valley, uncertain of what events might unfold next. Just when everyone who entered the ancient Forbidden Grounds had dispersed and didn't know how to act, nor dared to act rashly. Bang! 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 Suddenly, thunderous sounds emanated from above the void heaven in every location where everyone stood. The 180 personnel, including the 18 9-star sovereigns who entered the ancient Forbidden Grounds, all looked up towards the void heaven, and right then, they saw a gigantic ancient steel descending directly from the sky, arriving at the location where they stood. There are words on this ancient steel. Once the ancient steel was embedded in the ground of their respective locations, everyone cautiously approached the ancient steel in their area. In Yi Chen's valley, Yichun also saw the ancient steel descending from the sky and noticed the words on it. Yichun, be cautious. Seeing Yichun approaching the ancient steel, Xiaozhou's voice directly appeared in Yi Chen's mind. At this time, Yi Chen was alone in the valley, accompanied only by Xiaozhou and the little monkey, the two spirit beasts following him. Yi Chen nodded and walked to the side of the ancient stele. Then Yi Chen began to examine the words on the ancient stele. The more he read, the more Yi Chen's brows furrowed. By the time he finished reading the words on the ancient stele, Yi Chen finally understood what was happening. The beginning of the ancient stele stated, "This instance of the ancient forbidden grounds is entirely different from before." The ancient stele explicitly stated that all who came to the ancient forbidden grounds would soon receive a 9-beasts cauldron, and in the upcoming trials, everyone would encounter attacks from 9 different exotic beasts. Only by killing the exotic beasts and capturing the beast spirits of the 9 different exotic beasts, and placing them into the 9-beasts cauldron, can the 9-beasts cauldron be truly activated. With an activated 9-beasts cauldron in hand, one can finally step into the ancient temple possessing the unsurpassed divine fire. The ancient stele specifically mentioned that this time, those of the sovereign realm and below would face their crises separately. The sovereign realm personnel would face the assaults from the 9 exotic beasts individually. If they could overcome the assault and activate the 9-beasts cauldron, these sovereign realm personnel would meet finally in an ancient temple, whereas those below the sovereign realm would initially be scattered in different areas, but as they ventured further, they would congregate. Eventually, all who survive till the end and activate the 9-beasts cauldron below the sovereign realm would enter another ancient temple. Furthermore, the ancient stele mentioned an item named 9 mystic threads. The 9-beasts cauldron is merely the token for everyone to slay exotic beasts and enter the ancient temple. However, the 9 mystic threads is the key to ultimately acquiring the unsurpassed divine fire hidden within the ancient temple. The ancient stele stated that 9 mystic threads would appear separately after the 9 exotic beasts appear, with varying grades, and it depends on one's insight and strength to find the right grade of 9 mystic threads. The higher the grade of 9 mystic threads, the greater the likelihood of acquiring the unsurpassed divine fire hidden within the ancient temple. Upon seeing this, the 18 9-star sovereigns were utterly shocked. They finally understood why they had never been able to acquire the ancient temple spirit fire. It turns out, one must rely on the 9 mystic threads to retrieve the ancient temple spirit fire. Even more shocking for the 9-star sovereigns was that the ancient stele mentioned the subdivision of those in the sovereign realm and below into 2 different ancient temples. 2 ancient temples. It must be known that when these 9-star sovereigns had come to the ancient forbidden grounds before, they only discovered 1 ancient temple, and after seeing the ancient temple spirit fire inside, it emerged in the extreme heaven divine fire list. Now, the ancient stele surprisingly states there are 2 ancient temples. Could there be another unsurpassed divine fire yet to appear? Is the other undiscovered divine fire stronger or weaker than the ancient temple spirit fire that ranks 3rd on the extreme heaven divine fire list? No one knows. I wonder if our sovereign finally entered the ancient temple where the ancient temple spirit fire resides, or another ancient temple we have never seen before. No wonder the rules of the ancient forbidden grounds restrict the entry of individuals in the sovereign realm and below. It turns out there will be different encounters for 2 groups of people in the end. The 9-star sovereigns pondered in their hearts. The sovereigns knew that under these circumstances, they could only act on their own, striving to activate the 9-beasts cauldron to obtain the 9 profound threads as preparation for entering the ancient temple to acquire the divine fire in the future. As for those below the sovereign realm, it all depends on their fortune. Fortunately, even though the sovereigns and those below them separated to take action, our Blood Wing clan has Shuling Chan and Blood Flying Yen. They are top talents specially cultivated by our ancestral master. When they compete with those below the sovereign realm from the 9 Flames clan, they're absolutely not afraid. As long as Ling Chan and Flying Yen survive the onslaught of the 9 exotic beasts, activate the 9 beasts cauldron, and obtain the 9 profound threads, ultimately, the divine fire from the other ancient temple is most likely to fall into their hands. The leading figure of the Blood Wing clan, Elder Shuya, thought to himself. Meanwhile, on the 9 Flames clan side, Elder Tianhua frowned tightly. Sovereigns face crises alone, depending on their respective strengths. But as those below the sovereign realm venture further, they will increasingly gather together, and in that case, there will certainly be mutual slaughter. In the past, although our Nine Flames clan and the Blood Wing clan had enmity and conflict, with the sovereigns present, no one dared to act rashly. But this time, with no sovereigns around, it's likely people from both sides will have no scruples and will fight to the death to seize the supreme divine fire inside the ancient temple. Even though our clan has many powerful individuals below the sovereign realm, so does the Blood Wing clan. Plus, with the 9 exotic beasts attacking, who knows how many will survive this time. Among the 9-star sovereigns, the most worried one was Kai Meng. This time, he brought his 2 daughters, Kai Menger and Kai Shower, to the ancient forbidden grounds. If he had known earlier that the sovereigns and those below would be separated, he wouldn't let his 2 daughters take such a risk, even if it meant risking his own life. Although Shower's realm is lower than Menger's, she has the 9 spirits' divine body and has cultivated many polar sky-level divine fires, making her strength somewhat superior to Menger. I am most worried about Menger. Kai Menger is in the Earth Divine Venerable realm, with actual combat power only able to match the mid-level Immortal Divine Venerable tier, making her one of the weakest among the many individuals below the Sovereign Realm this time. How could Kai Meng not worry? And there's Yi Chun. I originally promised to look after him, and now that we're separated, I don't know if he can withstand the onslaught of the 9 exotic beasts. Shower says he's very formidable, and he managed to survive the Heavenly Cauldron transformation on his own. I hope he can withstand this crisis too. Kai Meng worried about his 2 daughters, about Yi Chun, and about the immortal divine venerables of the 10,000 Spirits Medicine Pavilion. At this moment, Kai Menger and Kai Shower, in their respective valleys, both had faces full of tension. They didn't know whether the 9 exotic beasts they would face were formidable. They didn't know if they would survive to the end. Father, sister.
Kai Menge foråret her delicates brevs, murmuring softly.
Sister, you must be careful and strive for us to meet early. And Brother Yi Chun is so powerful. He will definitely overcome countless crises. I hope to meet Brother Yi Chun soon. It would be great to have him by my side then. Father is a 9-star sovereign, facing the 9 exotic beasts alone. In the end, we will not enter the same ancient temple. I'm afraid we'll only be able to meet Father when we leave the ancient forbidden grounds. And I don't know if Father can be safe, or if we can be safe. Little lass Kai Shower. Countless thoughts flashed in her mind. At this moment, what Elder Shuya thought about Shuling Chan and Blood Flying Yen. They both saw the words on the ancient steel, their eyes gleaming with excitement. Although they didn't know what level the 9 exotic beasts were, since there was a crisis test set up for those below the sovereign realm here, both of them were absolutely strong in that category and felt confident they could overcome the crisis. What mattered more in their minds was the other ancient temple mentioned on the ancient steel and the divine fire inside it. Shuling Chan and Blood Flying Yen both knew of the ancient temple spirit fire and the ancient temple where it resided. Now, since the sovereigns and those below were moving separately and would enter different ancient temples, both of them were determined. They must seize the supreme divine fire within the temple meant for individuals below the sovereign realm. That kind of divine fire is very likely the ancient temple spirit fire, or even another undiscovered divine fire more powerful than the ancient temple spirit fire. Thinking of this, Shuling Chan and Blood Flying Yen looked at their respective valleys with different eyes. Both couldn't wait to slay the 9 exotic beasts and reach that ancient temple meant for them as soon as possible. Boom! 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 As all the sovereigns and those below the sovereign realm, upon seeing the ancient steel, had various thoughts. Soon, the 9 beasts cauldron mentioned on the ancient steel flew directly from the steel into everyone's hands. As the 9 beasts cauldron flew out, everyone sensed a feeling. The first kind of exotic beast they would face was about to appear. Chapter 986-9 Spots. The valley where Yi Chun was located. When the 9 beasts cauldron landed in Yi Chun's hands, he found that the cauldron was only the size of a palm, yet it was engraved with the images of 9 exotic beasts. Seeing these images, Yi-chan narrowed his eyes. These 9 exotic beast engravings were exactly the same as the 9-headed exotic beasts he had seen earlier on the Heaven Cauldron. Though he couldn't recognize what these 9 exotic beasts were, it was clear that they had a great connection with the Heaven Cauldron and the ancient forbidden grounds. At this moment of the 9 images on the 9 beasts cauldron, 8 were of normal colors, but one exotic beast image suddenly started to flicker, emitting a mysterious cold light. Yi-chan looked at this exotic beast image and saw it was a wolf-like creature. However, unlike a normal wolf beast, this wolf-like exotic beast had 3 heads, revealing 6 terrifying fangs, and also had a pair of serrated wings. Fire-winged tusked beast. As Yi-chan studied this exotic beast image that suddenly emitted a cold light, an inexplicable message emanated from the 9 beasts cauldron. Yi-chan's heart shook, and he immediately knew that the first kind of slaughter beast he had to face was probably this fire-winged tusked beast. Awoo! 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 Just as Yi-chan flipped over his hand and put away the 9 beasts cauldron, he heard the sound of wolf howls coming from the front of the valley. In the next moment, as many as 36 wolf-like exotic beasts flashed out from the front, appearing before Yi-chan. From the 9 beasts cauldron, the fire-winged tusked beast was shown as just a small image. But when these 36 fire-winged tusked beasts appeared before Yi-chan, he discovered that each of these exotic beasts was over 100 feet tall. Their 3 heads and 6 terrifying fangs all emitted a cold light, and more notably, their serrated wings were like 2 blazing flames, radiating a fiery red glow. Whoosh! 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 As Yi-chan observed these fire-winged tusked beasts, they spread their wings and flew up from void heaven, rushing towards Yi-chan. Seeing the 36 fire-winged tusked beasts forming a siege and charging at him, Yi-chan remained unperturbed. He pointed his finger at these fire-winged tusked beasts. PFT, 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 PFT. 36 sword lights, like 36 bolts of lightning, directly struck these 36 fire-winged tusked beasts. In an instant, these 36 fire-winged tusked beasts were slain by Yi-chan on the spot. This first exotic beast is only at the lower immortal divine venerable level of battle power, posing no threat to me. It seems that the initial exotic beasts in this 9 beasts onslaught are not too formidable. Yi-chan's figure flickered, and he arrived beside the corpses of these 36 fire-winged tusked beasts. However, next Yi-chan frowned, because Yi-chan did not find the beast spirit mentioned on the ancient stele on these fire-winged tusked beasts' corpses. According to the ancient stele, only by obtaining the beast spirit of 9 different exotic beasts and placing them into the 9 beasts cauldron can the 9 beasts cauldron be activated, allowing entry into the ancient temple with the unsurpassed divine fire. Now, the absence of a beast spirit from the first exotic beast clearly indicated that Yi-chan had not completed the task of slaying the first exotic beast. It seems acquiring a beast spirit isn't that easy. There must be other places with these fire-winged tusked beasts. Yi-chan's figure shook and disappeared from where he stood. In the next moment, he appeared in another area of the vast valley, and Yi-chan saw 3 fire-winged tusked beasts lying in that area. This vast valley was about tens of thousands of miles across. But curiously, the valley was filled with fiery red fog, significantly affecting divine sense detection. With Yi-chan's divine soul strength, his divine sense detection in the valley could only cover a few hundred miles. After Yi-chan flew across 10 different areas and killed over 200 fire-winged tusked beasts, he finally found the beast spirit described on the ancient stele on one fire-winged tusked beast's corpse, a beast soul shadow identical to the fire-winged tusked beast, but in the form of mist. Yi-chan directly grabbed the beast spirit, flipped his hand, and the 9 beasts cauldron appeared in his hand. He then placed the first beast spirit into the 9 beasts cauldron. Swoosh! At the moment the fire-winged tusked beast spirit was placed into the 9 beasts cauldron, the cold light on the fire-winged tusked beast image vanished, replaced by the image turning from normal black to fiery red. This clearly indicated that the task of the first exotic beast had been completed by Yi-chan. Yichen also noticed that after completing the task of the first exotic beast, the 9 Beasts Cauldron emitted an inexplicable guidance, a direction pointing towards the ancient temple. Yichen understood that with this guidance, he could enter the next area to face the next exotic beast. According to what was said on the ancient stele earlier, those below the sovereign realm will gradually converge, so perhaps in the next area, I will encounter others. But there's no rush to head directly to the next area. The ancient stele mentioned that when the 9 kinds of exotic beasts appear, the 9 profound threads, which can collect the unsurpassed divine fire from the ancient temple, will also appear separately. The higher the grade of the 9 mystic threads, the greater the probability of obtaining the legendary divine fire in the ancient temple. Now, however, we must search for the best first type of 9 mystic threads in this initial area. At this moment, Yichen slayed the Firewing Fang beast and obtained the beast spirit, having only covered about 1/10 of the initial area's space. There were still many areas he hadn't explored. The next moment, Yichen disappeared from the spot once more. About an hour later, Yichen finally walked out of this first gigantic valley and entered into a massive canyon. In Yichen's hand was a strand of fire-red silk thread, which he continuously examined. 9 mystic threads. This is what the ancient stele described as the first type of 9 mystic threads, the fire-red 9 mysteries silk. I've searched every part of the gigantic valley and found hundreds of these 9 mystic threads, yet the strand in my hand is the most mystical. And this strand of 9 mystic threads was the hardest to acquire. It was hidden in a mysterious stone cave space. If not for my strong divine soul, I might not have discovered it. I don't even know what grade this 9 mystic threads has reached. Yichen discovered that the strand of fire-red 9 mystic threads in his hand was engraved with 9 spots. Yichen speculated that this probably represented the grade of the fire-red 9 mystic threads. What Yichen didn't know was that at this time, in other valleys, many martial artists below the sovereign realm had also obtained the fire-red 9 mystic threads. The first type of exotic beast, the Firewing Fang beast, all had lower immortal divine venerable level combat power. For the members of the Bloodwing clan and 9 Flames clan who entered, they posed no threat, allowing everyone to slay them smoothly and ultimately obtain the beast spirit. However, the fire-red 9 mystic threads that everyone obtained varied greatly. Some searched all the valley areas and finally found what they considered the most precious fire-red 9 mystic threads. Others were obstructed by many areas within the valley, unable to enter, and could only search within the range they could traverse, ultimately seizing the best 9 mystic threads they could find. If Yichen could see all the 9 mystic threads in everyone's hands, he would surely find that everyone's first type of 9 mystic threads was red in color, with spots engraved on them. But unlike the 9-spotted fire-red 9 mystic threads he acquired, most of the other people's 9 mystic threads had fewer than 6 spots, with only a little over 20% having more than 6 spots. Like Yichen, only 8 people obtained the 9-spotted ones. Among them, the little girl Kai Shower, and the Bloodwing clan's top trainees Shuling Chan and Bloodflying Yen, all obtained 9-spotted, fire-red 9 mystic threads. Fortunately, my 9 spirits divine body can sense things related to fire, allowing me to discover the strand of 9 mystic threads. Kai Shower nodded her little head in satisfaction as she looked at the 9 mystic threads in her hand. Then she looked ahead on her path. In front of her, like Yichen, she also faced a vast canyon area. Shuling Chan and Blood-Flying Yen both stood outside 2 gigantic canyons at this moment. As they looked at the 9 mystic threads they just obtained from the first area, a gleam flashed in their eyes. 9 is a special number. These 9 spots most likely represent the highest grade of the 9 mystic threads. My power allowed me to thoroughly search all areas of the first valley. With my unique divine skills, I didn't miss even the hidden areas. There's no way anyone found a 9 mystic threads better than mine. Humph, in total, 9 types of exotic beasts must be slain to obtain 9 types of 9 mystic threads. Later on, I'll definitely find the other 8 most precious 9 mystic threads as well. In the end, the legendary divine fire in the ancient temple will definitely be mine. Shuling Chan and blood-flying Yen both carried absolute confidence. Upon entering the second area, the gigantic canyon, Yichen immediately felt that his divine sense was being suppressed more severely, only able to probe a few dozen miles around. Yichen also noticed that the second pattern on the nine-beast cauldron emitted a chilling light. This second pattern depicted an exotic beast resembling a spider, but unlike normal spiders, its body was engraved with a special flame spiral, looking extremely bizarre. Flame-devouring demon spider. Yichen also sensed the name of this exotic beast from the nine-beast cauldron. As Yichen walked about a few hundred feet deep into the second area, the gigantic canyon, suddenly, an enormous spider web over 100 feet wide descended from the sky, attempting to completely ensnare Yichen within it. Looking up through the web, he saw an enormous spider over dozens of feet tall with 8 legs emerging. This giant spider's body displayed a special flame spiral on its stomach and back. Even from below, Yichen could clearly see that these were bizarre flame spirals of a dark blue color. Yichen also found out that this giant spider's combat power was slightly stronger than the first type of exotic beast, the Firewing Fong beast, reaching the mid-immortal divine venerable level directly. Chapter 987, Encounter. However, even though this flame-devouring demon spider is stronger than the fire-winged tusked beast, for Yichen, it poses no pressure at all. Middle-ranked immortal divine venerable? Even if countless upper-ranked immortal divine venerable demons attack together, Yichen would not fear them in the slightest, let alone the single middle-ranked immortal divine venerable demon. Seeing the enormous web of over 100 feet wide descending from the sky, Yichen stood below, neither dodging nor evading. With a flick of his sleeve, the attack method Limitless Wind Blade of the Eternal God Body's Wind Divine Pattern was unleashed. In an instant, the entire area within 10,000 feet of the canyon, where Yichen was located, was completely engulfed by endless violent wind blades. The flame-devouring demon spider's web, which was extremely difficult for others to break, instantly turned to dust in the endless violent wind blades, and the flame-devouring demon spider, which had reached the middle-ranked immortal divine venerable combat power, was directly slain by Yichen in the void with a piercing scream. This flame-devouring demon spider did not even have the slightest power to retaliate and was killed instantly. Yichen glanced toward the place where the flame-devouring demon spider died, but he did not see any trace of the beast spirit. It seems that to obtain the beast spirit in this second area, just like in the first area, I need to slay more of these exotic beasts to find it. Yichen's divine sense surged, while carefully searching for the blue 9 profound threads that might appear in the second area. He activated the speed method Extreme Wind Wings of the Eternal God Body's Wind Divine Pattern and began to fly forward. In this second area, the gigantic canyon was extremely long, with countless intersecting canyons. After Yichen had slain over 30 flame-devouring demon spiders and found a few strands of blue 9 profound threads that bore 5 spots, 2 canyon routes appeared to the left and right in front of him. Yichen used his divine sense to explore tens of miles to both sides, then moved into the new large canyon on the left. After navigating 4 or 5 intersecting canyon junctions, Yichen finally obtained the beast spirit after slaying the 78th flame-devouring demon spider. When the beast spirit was placed in the 9 beasts cauldron, the second pattern, the pattern of the flame-devouring demon spider, also finally lit up on the 9 beasts cauldron. At the same time, Yichen, through the guidance of the 9 beasts cauldron, sensed the third area ahead in the routes of countless canyons was calling to him. However, Yichen did not head directly to the third area. He still had to find the highest quality 9 profound threads. Continue forward. The 6 spots 9 profound threads in my hand now are stronger than the 4 spots and 5 spots 9 profound threads I found before, indicating that these spots likely represent the grade of the 9 profound threads. In the first fire-winged tusked beast area, I found the 9 spots of fire red 9 mysteries silk. In this second flame-devouring demon spider area, Yichen shot forward again. After passing several intersecting canyon junctions, As Yi Chun was using his divine sense to explore the front at a junction, his eyes suddenly brightened. Finally encountered others. Could it be her? Kai Menger was both panicked and anxious at the moment. What was panicking was, her combat power was at the middle-ranking Immortal Divine Venerable level, and her father, 9-star Sovereign Kai Meng, was supposed to look after her, yet from the beginning she got separated from her father. She was venturing alone, and as soon as she arrived in the second area, the exotic beasts she faced were already at the middle-ranking Immortal Divine Venerable level. Even though she hadn't encountered danger yet, Kai Menger couldn't suppress her panic, for if more such exotic beasts came, she would be at risk of losing her life at any moment. Moreover, according to the rules of the ancient Forbidden Grounds, the further forward, the more likely it is to encounter other participants. If she encountered a Blood Wing Clan enemy, that would also pose a life-threatening crisis. This, of course, kept Kai Menger in constant fear and anxiety. What worried Kai Menger was that now she faced a problem. On the cliff wall of the canyon before her was a sealed cave. Inside, she distinctly saw a strand of blue 9 profound threads, marked with 7 spots. Yet she couldn't break the seal to obtain the 9 profound threads inside. 7 spots. Currently, the best blue 9 profound threads in Kai Menger's possession was marked with only 4 spots. If she could obtain the 7 spots blue 9 profound threads, it would undoubtedly enhance the quality of her second 9 profound thread to a whole new level. Just as Kai Menger faced the 7 spots blue 9 profound threads in a quandary, unable to obtain it and unwilling to leave, she suddenly sensed that someone had intruded within the range of her divine sense. Someone is coming? Kai Menger's heart jolted. It's important to know that among those entering the ancient Forbidden Grounds this time, her strength was nearly the weakest. If she encountered a formidable opponent, especially a member of the Blood Wing Clan, she would indeed face great danger. Kai Menger suddenly looked toward the direction of the intruder. At this sight, Kai Menger cried out in surprise, "Yi Chun, is it you?" Who came before Kai Menger was, of course, Yi Chun, who was also venturing in the second area. Kai Menger's divine sense exploration range was suppressed within a few miles, so she discovered Yi Chun quite late. However, Yi Chun's divine sense exploration range was tens of miles around, much broader than Kai Menger's. He had noticed Kai Menger as early as the canyon intersection. Yi Chun flew directly to Kai Menger's side. "Miss Menger, what's going on?" Yi Chun, having noticed that Kai Menger had been standing in this territory, asked her as soon as he landed by her side. Looking at Yi Chun before her, Kai Menger felt truly excited in her heart. Others might not know how formidable Yi Chun is, but she certainly does. The first time she met Yi Chun at the 10,000 Spirits Medicine Pavilion, she sensed that Yi Chun's combat power far surpassed hers. Later, Yi Chun alone acquired 18 divine light clusters from another heaven cauldron on the dark swamp stars. In Kai Menger's eyes, she had already regarded Yi Chun as the absolute pinnacle figure at the upper immortal divine venerable combat power tier. Encountering Yi Chun meant that Kai Menger's dangers were greatly reduced. Although her father wasn't there to protect her, as long as she had Yi Chun with her in this area below the sovereign realm, she didn't have to fear countless others. Hearing Yi Chun's question, Kai Menger quickly pointed to the cave on the canyon wall where the 9 profound threads were sealed and said, "Yi Chun, there are 9 profound threads there. A blue 9 profound thread with 7 spots?" At this moment, Yi Chun also noticed the strand of 9 profound threads sealed inside the cave atop the canyon. He finally understood why Kai Menger had been staying here without leaving. Obviously, this young girl was unwilling to give up on retrieving the 9 profound threads inside the cave. "Let me give it a try." Yi Chun moved in a flash and flew up to the void outside the cave. Watching Yi Chun's actions, Kai Menger's heart was filled with anticipation. She had always heard about Yi Chun's prowess, even learning about Yi Chun capturing the 18 divine light clusters in the heaven cauldron through her sister, Kai Shower. Kai Menger hadn't yet seen Yi Chun in action. She couldn't wait to see Yi Chun's truly extraordinary methods. The seal on that cave, I'm afraid only combat power at the upper immortal divine venerable level could break it. I wonder what methods Yi Chun will use to inspire such power. Amid Kai Menger's anticipation, she saw that Yi Chun, facing the cave's seal, didn't deploy any grand strategy, but simply pointed a finger lightly at the seal. Puff! Suddenly, a flash of sword light burst out like lightning, directly striking the seal with raw power. Where the sword light made contact, a blinding light flared. Amid the flashing light, the cave's seal that Kai Menger couldn't break despite countless efforts, was utterly shattered by Yi Chen's single move, revealing the strand of blue 9 profound threads with 7 spots inside the cave. Yi Chen reached out and grabbed the strand of blue 9 profound threads with 7 spots. Miss Menger, please take this strand of 9 profound threads. Yi Chen handed the 9 profound threads to Kai Menger. Even as Yi Chen handed over the 9 profound threads, Kai Menger's head was still in a bit of a daze. She looked at Yi Chen, her beautiful eyes full of disbelief, her rosy lips slightly parted. Yi Chen, you broke the seal with just one move. Seeing in person is believing. Even though she already knew Yi Chen was formidable, seeing Yi Chen truly in action for the first time, Kai Menger was utterly shocked. Yi Chen looked at the girl before him and nodded with a smile. Kai Menger, clad in white, with a graceful figure, had a dot of cinnabar on her forehead. Her face was extremely beautiful, with the natural allure of the 9-colored sky-swallowing python from the 9 Flames clan. Her face showing a look of surprise was quite cute. This 9 profound thread, you want to give it to me? Startled, seeing the 9 profound thread Yi Chen handed over, Kai Menger came to her senses and quickly shook her head. Yi Chen, this 9 profound thread was obtained by you. It should belong to you. Yi Chen, however, pulled Kai Menger's soft hand, directly placing the 9 profound threads into her hand. You keep it first, we'll divide it later when we find better 9 profound threads. Yi Chen looked towards the front of the canyon. Better 9 profound threads? Kai Menger looked at Yi Chen, then towards the region ahead, the second area she hadn't yet ventured into, and the young girl nodded. She knew with Yi Chen's strength, he would definitely find better 9 profound threads. The two of them flew forward together. Miss Menger, have you obtained the second beast spirit yet? Yi Chen asked. Kai Menger shook her head dejectedly. I've slain over 30 flame-devouring demon spiders, but still haven't found a beast spirit. Then let's search for 9 profound threads while slaying the flame-devouring demon spiders to find beast spirits, Yi Chen said with a smile. With Yi Chen by her side, Kai Menger finally knew how delightful it was to travel with a mighty companion. Originally, dealing with mid-level immortal divine venerable level flame-devouring demon spiders alone would have taken Kai Menger a long time considering her combat power. But with Yi Chen beside her, even just his released aura scared numerous flame-devouring demon spiders into prostrating on the ground, not daring to move. And for Kai Menger, slaying the flame-devouring demon spiders became much easier. After flying through 3 canyon sections, Kai Menger successfully obtained the beast spirit from the flame-devouring demon spider. The tasks for the two of them in the second realm were only left with finding higher-level blue 9 profound threads. Chapter 988 Killing Intent emerges. Continuing forward, Yi Chen suddenly stopped below a cliff in the gorge. What's wrong, Yi Chen? Kai Menger asked Yi Chen, a flash of essence in Yi Chen's eyes. This area should contain the exceedingly precious blue 9-spot silk. Exceedingly precious blue 9-spot silk?
Kai Menger was stunned.
The young lady knew that even when they gathered 7-spot blue silk earlier, Yi Chen did not say it was extraordinarily precious. Could it be that there is 8-spot or even 9-spot blue silk here? But I haven't discovered anything. Kai Menger looked around, wondering aloud. The girl looked toward Yi Chen, wanting to see how he would act. At this moment, Yi Chen simply sat down cross-legged. With a boom, his divine soul power shook, and an immense divine soul force began to meticulously search the surroundings. As Yi Chen was searching with his divine soul, Kai Menger felt a shock in her heart. She could sense that a mysterious pressure from his divine soul was making her mind and spirit tremble. Such powerful divine soul force. Yi Chen's divine soul is surprisingly strong. Just standing nearby, she could feel the intense divine soul pressure. This was without Yi Chen targeting her. If he were to actually use a divine soul attack, Kai Menger felt she wouldn't be able to withstand Yi Chen's assault. It's important to know that this wasn't about divine body skills or divine power methods. It was divine soul techniques. To countless martial artists, divine soul attack methods are considered the weakest and hardest to cultivate. Yet Yi Chen's divine soul was developed to such an extent.
Lies astonished Kai Menger.
What Kai Menger didn't know was that Yi Chen's divine soul had already undergone a qualitative leap during his exploration in the purple or mystery realm of the heavenly god mountain, elevating to the strength of a blue divine soul. Yi Chen had also mastered the powerful secret skills, amethyst soul protection skills, and amethyst soul slaying skills. At this moment, Yi Chen was using the amethyst soul slaying skills to invoke his divine soul power for searching, naturally causing Kai Menger to feel enormous pressure. Amid Kai Menger's shock, Yi Chen focused his entire divine soul on searching the cliff in the gorge within a range of tens of thousands of feet. Earlier, as Yi Chen passed by this area, he directly sensed an indefinable aura, the aura of the 9-spot silk. Had his divine soul not been strong enough, this inexplicable aura would likely have been easily overlooked. Although this aura flashed briefly and quickly disappeared, Yi Chen had a feeling that this aura absolutely belonged to the special 9-spot blue silk, and when Yi Chen looked around, unable to immediately ascertain the direction it emanated from, it strengthened his determination. If it weren't for the 9-spot blue silk, it couldn't evade his basic reconnaissance. That's why Yi Chen started using his amethyst soul-slaying skills. For a meticulous search, swoosh, instantly, the amethyst soul-slaying skills swept across a large section of the gorge cliffs. If anyone could see the way Yi Chen's divine soul explored, they would be horrified. The entire cliff within several thousand feet was directly scanned by Yi Chen's divine soul force. The depth of this investigation was simply unbelievable. After Yi Chen meticulously searched 5 or 6 sections of cliff, his gaze directly locked onto a direction on the right cliff. It's there. Boom. Yi Chen's eyes focused on that area, and instantly the amethyst soul-slaying skills activated. Earlier, Yi Chen had only used the amethyst soul-slaying skills to invoke divine soul power for searching, not attacking. Now, as he truly displayed the attacking method of the amethyst soul-slaying skills, a blade-like purple glow swiftly appeared in the void, slashing toward the area Yi Chen found. The amethyst soul-slaying skills driven divine soul power formed a dazzling purple blade light, which appeared in Kai Menger's eyes as she widened her beautiful eyes. Kai Menger couldn't believe that divine soul force alone could be condensed into such a level of killing power. Even combining all her essence, chi, and spirit methods and power together wouldn't reach this level of killing strength. What shocked Kai Menger even more was that as the dazzling purple blade light Yi Chen drove reached the cliff, it seemed to penetrate directly without visible collision, as if the purple blade light seeped into the cliff. But in this penetration, the cliff shattered instantly into powder. Bang! The entire cliff, visibly in a flash, was transformed into a huge circular pit, penetrating several thousand feet deep. Following that, as if drawn by Yi Chen's divine soul force, a bolt of lightning-like light shot directly from the pit, trying to flee. At that moment, Yi Chen reached out with a large hand, grasping the lightning-like light out of the blue. When Kai Menger looked at his hand, she clearly saw it wasn't lightning light, but rather a thread exuding blue divine light. Furthermore, it was adorned with 9 spots. 9-spot blue 9 silk. Yi Chen had truly found the immensely precious 9 silk. Wow! This likely isn't easily discovered by anyone else. Even the top among the upper immortal divine venerables might not necessarily find it. Kai Menger's heart shook as she whispered. As Kai Menger was in shock, Yi Chen directly handed the 9-spot blue 9 silk over to her. Just as Kai Menger froze, not believing Yi Chen would give her the 9-spot blue silk, Yi Chen drove the dazzling purple blade light again toward that section. Moments later, 2 more deep pits, each thousands of feet deep, were blasted open, and 2 more lightning-like lights flew out. Finally, it transformed into 2 strands of blue 9 profound threads with 9 spots. Yi-chan not only found the blue 9 profound threads with 9 spots, but, with the one in Kai Menger's hand, he had found 3 strands of blue 9 profound threads with 9 spots. 3 strands. This. At this moment, Kai Menger was completely speechless. In the first realm, the most precious fire-red 9 profound threads she found had only 8 spots, which had made her extremely excited at that time. Later, when she teamed up with Yi-chan, she heard that Yi-chan found the fire-red 9 profound threads with 9 spots in the first realm. Kai Menger couldn't have imagined that now, in the second realm, Yi-chan had found the blue 9 profound threads with 9 spots, and had found 3 of them at once. Could it be that, in the end, Yi-chan will be able to collect all 9 types of 9-spot 9 profound threads? If that's the case, then he might have the greatest hope of obtaining the ancient temple divine fire. Kai Menger thought to herself. 3 strands of blue 9 profound threads with 9 spots were enough for Yi-chan and Kai Menger to share. However, Yi-chan still did not head directly to the third realm. Yi-chan wanted to see if there might be blue 9 profound threads that exceeded the 9 spots. After Yi-chan continued searching for half a day, traversing countless canyon realms without further discovery, he finally suspected that, just as he had predicted, 9 spots might be the highest grade of 9 profound threads. In 9 realms, there are a total of 9 types of 9 profound threads. Now, it's getting hard to find the second type of blue 9 profound threads with 9 spots in the second realm. Later, the other 7 types of highest grade 9 profound threads might be even harder to find. Although he successfully obtained 2 types of 9 profound threads with 9 spots, Yi-chan remained cautious. Just as Yi-chan had suspected. In the second realm, in the canyons not connected to Yi-chan's location, other martial artists below the Sovereign Realm from the Nine Flames clan and the Blood Wing clan also kept discovering blue 9 profound threads in the canyons. However, it wasn't as easy to find as it was in the first realm. In the first realm, as many as 8 people obtained the fire-red 9 profound threads with 9 spots, but in the second realm, in the end, only 4 people found the blue 9 profound threads with 9 spots. Among these 4, besides Yi-chan, there was only 1 person from the Nine Flames clan, and the 2 from the Bloodwing clan, Shuling Chan and Blood Flying Yen. Moreover, the clan member from the Nine Flames clan, Shuling Chan, and Blood Flying Yen, all relied on a special secret treasure to discover the existence of the second type of blue 9 profound threads with 9 spots. They made their way to the second realm. In the search for the 9 profound threads, the distance between martial artists continued to widen. Let's go. Now that we've found the 9 profound threads in the second realm, it's time to go to the third realm, Yi-chan said to Kai Menger. At this moment, Kai Menger was completely following Yi-chan's lead and nodded repeatedly upon hearing his words. Both of them now had the guidance of the 9 Beasts Cauldron and directly identified the direction, flying towards the third realm. As they were about to reach the exit, they encountered another figure. It was a member of the Blood Wing clan, and it was an upper immortal divine venerable of the Blood Wing clan. This upper immortal divine venerable, just passing through from another canyon, also spotted Yi-chan and Kai Menger at this time. Upon seeing Yi-chan was at the Upper God King realm and Kai Menger was at the Earth Divine Venerable realm, the upper immortal divine venerable of the Blood Wing clan showed a trace of murderous intent in his eyes. Yi-chan and Kai Menger landed and looked directly at this upper immortal divine venerable of the Blood Wing clan. Yi-chan's expression showed no fear. Kai Menger also moved closer to Yi-chan, looking at this upper immortal divine venerable of the Blood Wing clan. However, after scrutinizing Yi-chan and Kai Menger for a few moments, this upper immortal divine venerable deeply concealed the murderous intent in his eyes, snorted coldly, and then flew towards the exit first. Finally, he disappeared at the exit. Yi-chan. Kai Menger tugged at Yi-chan's sleeve. This person clearly showed murderous intent earlier. Why did he let us go in the end? Kai Menger did not believe this person left because he discovered Yi-chan's strength. If that were the case, he wouldn't have dared to show any intent to kill, let alone snort coldly at the end. Daring to reveal murderous intent means he had already harbored a killing intention. I'm afraid this person is very cautious and won't make a move without absolute confidence, Yi-chan said to Kai Menger. Yi-chan had stopped earlier just to see what this Bloodwing clan member intended to do. If this person dared to attack him and Kai Menger, Yi-chan wouldn't mind eliminating him right there. According to the rules of the ancient steel, everyone can only reach the 3rd realm at most before the 9th day, and can proceed to the 4th realm on the 10th day. In that case, we'll probably stay in the 3rd realm for a long time, increasing the likelihood of encounters among those who enter. I'm afraid once people gather in the 3rd realm, real conflicts might arise. Chapter 989- Overwhelming. Yi-chen's prediction was correct. When the sub-sovereign realm members of the Bloodwing clan and the Nine Flames clan gradually entered the 3rd area, the fierce battles indeed began to break out continuously. Unlike the 1st area where everyone was scattered across different valleys, by the 2nd area, people started to encounter one another. Upon entering the 3rd area, according to the ancient steel's explanation, there are 10 parallel spaces within the ancient forbidden grounds. It's important to know that there are precisely 162 sub-sovereign realm members who entered the ancient forbidden grounds. This means that, even if 162 people were evenly distributed into the 10 parallel spaces of the 3rd area, each one would have 16 or 17 people meeting each other. Of course, in reality, the distribution is not even. Some parallel spaces have many people entering, while others have few, which also results in differing strengths of the Bloodwing clan and Nine Flames clan members entering each parallel space. In one of the parallel spaces, as the participants gathered, 9 Bloodwing clan members eventually converged, while the Nine Flames clan had only 3 members. Among those 9 from the Bloodwing clan was Shuling Chan, who was specially nurtured by the Blood Origin Divine Master, along with 3 extraordinarily strong Upper Immortal Divine Venerables. In contrast, the 3 from the Nine Flames clan were significantly weaker, with 2 being formidable Upper Immortal Divine Venerables but unable to contend against the combined forces of the 9 from the Bloodwing clan. The other was merely a lower Immortal Divine Venerable, completely no match for the enemy. As a result, under the leadership of Shuling Chan, when the 9 from the Bloodwing clan discovered the 3 from the Nine Flames clan, Shuling Chan immediately and mercilessly slaughtered the 3 from the Nine Flames clan on the spot. In the end, in this parallel space of the 3rd area, only the 9 from the Bloodwing clan survived. In several other parallel spaces of the 3rd area, the Bloodwing clan similarly held the upper hand. This time, the Bloodwing clan obtained 108 ancient heavenly cauldron orders from the 6 heaven cauldrons, with significantly more sub-sovereign realm members entering than the Nine Flames clan, giving them a numerical advantage. After gaining the upper hand in these parallel spaces, the Bloodwing clan similarly engaged in slaughter, resulting in many deaths on both sides, but with more Bloodwing clan members surviving in the end. Of course, the Nine Flames clan was not outmatched in every parallel space. In a parallel space in the center of the 3rd area, 20 participants entered, including 13 from the Nine Flames clan and only 7 from the Bloodwing clan. In this place, the Nine Flames clan laughed last. The little girl Kai Shower was rather fortunate. Although she did not encounter Yi-chun like her sister Kai Menger, when she entered the parallel space of the 3rd area, the strength of the gathered Nine Flames clan and Bloodwing clan members in that space was quite balanced. Both sides were wary of each other, so a fierce conflict did not occur. In the end, both sides acted separately, each seizing beast spirits and 9 profound threads. The slaughter in the 3rd area led to the continuous death of sub-sovereign realm members from both the Bloodwing clan and the Nine Flames clan. If someone could see the situation in all 10 parallel spaces, they would certainly notice that in less than 3 days, over 30 people had already died in the slaughter. Moreover, as time passed, the death toll continued to rise. At this time, in the parallel space where Yi-chan and Kai Menger were located, the 2 sides similarly began a frontal clash. The parallel space in the 3rd area where Yi-chun was located was a vast forest area. As soon as they entered the forest area, Kai Menger left the distinctive Nine Flames clan contact signals everywhere. 2 or 3 days later, 5 other Nine Flames clan members who entered this area also joined up with Yi-chun and Kai Menger. At this point, the Upper Immortal Divine Venerable from the Bloodwing clan who had previously shown killing intent toward Yi-chun and Kai Menger also gathered with 13 others from the Bloodwing clan. Initially, Both sides were still acting independently after gathering, but when the two parties explored the edge of a gigantic lake in the forest area, they suddenly saw each other. On the side of the Nine Flames clan, there were a total of 7 people, including Yi Chun. But on the side of the Bloodwing clan, there were 14 people in total, twice the number of the Nine Flames clan. Additionally, there was Yi Chun, an Upper God King, and Kai Menger, an Earth Divine Venerable, 2 individuals with lower realms in the Nine Flames clan's team, which made the overall strength of the Nine Flames clan appear much weaker. Whereas on the side of the Bloodwing clan, they were all Upper Immortal Divine Venerables. The Bloodwing clan had an overwhelming advantage over the Nine Flames clan. Nine Flames clan people. Haha, only 7 people. It seems, in this parallel space, we have the upper hand here. Upon seeing the 7 from the Nine Flames clan, the 14 from the Bloodwing clan brightened up, whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. And instantly, all 14 flew toward Yi Chun and the others. Upon seeing their movements, Yi Chun remained calm. Knowing Yi Chun's strength, although Kai Menger felt a bit anxious inside, she also managed to maintain her composure. But the remaining members of the Nine Flames clan were visibly shaken. Originally, the strength gap between the two clans' powerhouses entering the ancient Forbidden Grounds wasn't too large, so when the other side had more people, it was easy for them to gain the upper hand. Seeing the 14 from the Bloodwing clan charging toward them, several members of the Nine Flames clan immediately had thoughts of fleeing. Boom! Boom! They rushed back as their divine power surged.
Yetchen, Seoi Mengar looked at Yetchen worriedly.
Seeing Yi Chun merely frown without making a move, Kai Menger also didn't move. Trying to escape? The 14 from the Bloodwing clan, seeing that some of the Nine Flames clan members were escaping, laughed out loud. They noticed the fear in their opponents' expressions, which boosted their confidence even more. When they saw that Yi Chun and Kai Menger hadn't moved, 4 of them charged directly at Yi Chun and Kai Menger, while the remaining 10 chased after the 5 fleeing members. Among those advancing toward Yi Chun and Kai Menger was the Upper Immortal Divine Venerable from the Bloodwing clan that Yi Chun had encountered in the second area. These two, are they scared stiff? One person said. I met them before and I refrained from acting then to avoid trouble, and because I was in a hurry to get to the third area. Now, with the 4 of us Upper Immortal Divine Venerables acting together, it will be easy to kill them. The Upper Immortal Divine Venerable who had met Yi Chun and Kai Menger before laughed coldly. However, his cold smile did not last long. In the next moment, a look of astonishment appeared on his face, because he saw that the young Upper God King opposite him had produced a strange magical treasure in his hand. Then, the Divine King Youth simply tapped that magical treasure lightly. He became completely frozen in the void. Chapter 990- Follow Yi Chun. What shocked this Upper Immortal Divine Venerable even more was that he discovered, not only was he confined in the void, but so were the other 3 Upper Immortal Divine Venerables from the Bloodwing clan flying beside and in front of him. Looking further away, even the 10 Upper Immortal Divine Venerables from the Bloodwing clan, who were hunting down the other 5 clan members of the Nine Flames clan, were similarly confined in the void. At this moment, the Upper Immortal Divine Venerable who had previously encountered Yi Chun and Kai Menger was stunned. The other Upper Immortal Divine Venerables from the Bloodwing clan were also stunned. Even the 5 clan members of the Nine Flames clan who were desperately fleeing noticed something was wrong behind them, and seeing that the Upper Immortal Divine Venerables chasing them were confined, they were completely stunned. These 5 members of the Nine Flames clan immediately saw Yi Chun, whose hands were emitting the divine light from the treasure, and instantly realized it was Yi Chun who had confined these 14 Upper Immortal Divine Venerables of the Bloodwing clan. The 5 were filled with disbelief. They had always thought that Yi Chun, this Upper God King, had come to the ancient Forbidden Grounds under the shelter of Kai Meng Sovereign, and had always considered Yi Chun to be the weakest among them. They could not imagine that Yi Chun could single-handedly confine 14 Upper Immortal Divine Venerables. What kind of magical treasure is this? What kind of combat power is this? They recognized that the opponents were not ordinary Upper Immortal Divine Venerables. Among them were several extraordinarily powerful figures from the Bloodwing clan, all confined, making the 5 want to bow and worship Yi Chun. If they had known Yi Chun was so formidable, they would never have fled. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. In an instant, the five flew down in front of Yi Chun. Previously, when they met Yi Chun, they had looked down on him somewhat, calling him a foreign kid in their hearts. Now, these five spoke respectfully to Yi Chun. Yi Chun, was it you who dealt with them? You're amazing. The one who took on the 14 upper immortal divine venerables of the Blood-Wing clan could be none other than Yi Chun. The magical treasures driven by Yi Chun were the two miraculous treasures he had obtained in the abandoned land of the heavenly god mountain, Copper Gong and Wooden Hammer. The Copper Gong and Wooden Hammer were miraculous treasures left behind by an existence surpassing the sovereign. Even though Yi Chun couldn't fully mobilize the full divine might of the miraculous treasures, he could easily confine personnel below the sovereign realm combat power with these two treasures. Previously, Yi Chun had even once confined over 1,000 upper-level immortal divine venerables of demon level at once. Now it's only 14 upper immortal divine venerables of the Blood-Wing clan, so there was certainly no problem. Seeing the 5 members of the Nine Flames clan fly in front of him, Yi Chun had something to say to them. These people can't move for a while. How to deal with them, you decide for yourselves. Yi Chun had no personal enmity with the Blood-Wing clan, so whether these people were slain or not didn't concern him. However, the 5 members of the Nine Flames clan were entirely different from Yi Chun. The Nine Flames clan and the Blood-Wing clan had always been fighting openly and secretly. There had been countless slaughters in private. Now, having seen the killing intent from the other side in the ancient forbidden grounds, they were even less willing to let them go. These people wanted to kill us, so naturally, we will kill them to avoid future trouble if they are let go. Yi Chun, leave it to us to kill them. Yes, Yi Chun, you don't need to take action. Whoosh, whoosh, divine light flashed. The 5 members of the Nine Flames clan all drew their top-notch mysterious heavenly divine artifacts. Although they had fled before, it didn't mean they were weak. They were outnumbered. Now that the opponents were confined, killing them posed no problem whatsoever. Bang! A member of the Nine Flames clan slashed down with a flame god sword, directly beheading an upper immortal divine venerable from the Blood-Wing clan on the spot. The other upper immortal divine venerables from the Blood-Wing clan, seeing the 5 from the Nine Flames clan killing their own and their companions falling, were utterly horrified. They never expected their side to fall from a dominant position to this outcome. They wanted to break free from the confinement but could not escape, and within a few seconds they were all slaughtered. In the parallel space where Yi Chun was, in the end, all 14 members of the Blood-Wing clan were killed. When the 5 members of the Nine Flames clan finished killing their opponents and flew back to Yi Chun, they looked at Yi Chun with even more shock. They once again realized Yi Chun's power, and the power of the Copper Gong and Wooden Hammer in his hands. If in the outside world, in a one-on-one battle, it would take them endless effort to kill an upper immortal divine venerable. Yet, they easily killed 14 upper immortal divine venerables now with hardly any effort. This was all thanks to Yi Chun. Yi Chun, meanwhile, also looked down at the Copper Gong and Wooden Hammer in his hands. For truly combating wide-ranging opponents, these 2 divine objects were indeed infinitely useful. After staring at the Copper Gong and Wooden Hammer for a few moments, Yi Chun put these 2 divine objects away again, then looked into the distance. The 3rd region is divided into 10 parallel spaces. In our space, there was killing. In other places, there will also be killings. It's likely many others have already fallen elsewhere as well. Yi Chun sighed. His words startled Kai Menger, who had been admiringly watching him the entire time. Kai Menger thought of her sister Kai Shower. I wonder how Shower is doing. If she encounters many members of the Blood-Wing clan, it will be dangerous. Kai Menger frowned, clenching her fair fists tightly. The other 5 members of the Nine Flames clan also frowned. This time, more members of the Blood-Wing clan entered the ancient forbidden grounds than us. We'll definitely suffer. We managed to avoid a crisis here thanks to Yi Chun. We don't know if our clan members can avoid crises elsewhere. Fortunately, we were 7 against 14 here, and we killed them all, so there should be fewer Blood-Wing clan members elsewhere. Yi Chun also worried about the little girl Kai Shower. He didn't want that little girl to get hurt. However, he was equally powerless. The 10 parallel spaces in the third region are mutually independent, and even with Yi Chen's power, he couldn't go to other parallel spaces. I hope the little girl can enter a parallel space with fewer opponents, escape safely, and meet up with me soon.
Yi Chen muttered.
After a while of silence, Yi Chen looked ahead. He said to Kai Menger and the other 6 beside him, "Let's go, we can't influence what happens elsewhere. We can only hope to meet them later. Now, the urgent task is to complete the missions of Beast Spirit and 9 profound threads in this third region." In the third region, there appeared a type of exotic beast called a heart-piercing rat and a type of brown 9 profound silk. For the past few days, Yi Chen searched through countless areas in this forest region but never encountered a heart-piercing rat or a brown 9 profound silk. Finally finding this huge lake area within the forest, Yi Chen encountered the Bloodwing clan people again. Now that the Bloodwing people were all killed, it was time to continue to other regions to find the heart-piercing rat beast spirit and the third type of 9 profound threads, the brown 9 profound silk. Hearing Yi Chen's words, Kai Menger also snapped out of her concern for Kai Shower. The further we go, the more people entering the ancient forbidden grounds will meet up with each other. In this third region, everyone is split into 10 parallel spaces. By the fourth region, there will be only 5 parallel spaces, and in the fifth region, there will be just 3. By the sixth region, there will only be 1 parallel space, where all survivors will encounter each other. Shower, you must survive and meet with us soon. With these thoughts weighing on her heart, Kai Menger walked to Yi Chen's side. Since Yi Chen wanted to continue venturing, Kai Menger would, of course, follow Yi Chen to venture further. Meanwhile, the other 5 members of the 9 Flames clan also moved to Yi Chen's side. One of the upper immortal divine venerables spoke to Yi Chen. "Yi Chen, you are the most powerful. We will follow you. Whatever orders you have, just give them, and we will comply." The others all nodded. "Follow Yi Chen.
Obey Yi Chen's commands.
Please, Yi Chen, lead us." With one action, Yi Chen had already made these people from the 9 Flames clan, just like Kai Menger before, fully rally behind Yi Chen. Chapter 991 - Heart-Piercing Rat and God-Devouring Caterpillar. Yi Chen, Kai Menger, and 5 other members of the 9 Flames clan continued onward. After crossing the vast lake region where they killed 14 members of the Bloodwing clan, a dense, dark forest appeared ahead of them. Looking at the thick forest, Yi Chen said to the 6 people beside him, "Although the Bloodwing clan members who entered this parallel space have been eliminated, everyone still needs to be cautious. We've been here for so long without encountering the third kind of exotic beasts here, the heart-piercing rat mentioned by the 9 Beasts Cauldron. I suspect the heart-piercing rat won't be easy to deal with." One of the 6, named Qi Yan, an upper immortal divine venerable, nodded and said, "Yes, in the first region, we faced the lower immortal divine venerable level combat power of the fire-winged tusked beast. In the second region, we encountered the middle immortal divine venerable level power of the flame-devouring demon spider. This third region might involve encountering exotic beasts with upper immortal divine venerable level combat power. Even if it is upper immortal divine venerable level power, we are not sure to what extent it reaches. Perhaps only Yi Chen can confidently handle it, but we can't claim absolute certainty." The rest nodded in agreement. Kai Menger added worriedly, "We have to kill a total of 9 exotic beasts. This is just the third region. If the exotic beasts have already reached upper immortal divine venerable level combat power, then in the subsequent 4th, 5th regions and up to the 9th region, how powerful will the exotic beasts become? Could they surpass the immortal divine venerable level and reach the sovereign realm level?" As Kai Menger spoke, everyone furrowed their brows even more. After all, their goal is to pass through 9 checkpoints to explore the unspeakable divine flame within the mysterious ancient temple. Even reaching the 8th checkpoint and failing to pass the 9th would be futile. Current circumstances raise doubts about whether they can reach the subsequent 4th, 5th, or 6th regions. Amidst everyone's worries, Yi Chen shook his head. It's unlikely that the 9 exotic beasts here will reach the sovereign realm level. After all, this place is for those below the sovereign realm to venture, and combating sovereign realm combat power when below it is extremely difficult. Even with my methods to counter combat power below the sovereign realm, if it ever reaches that level, I fear I can't get past. Since the 9 beasts cauldron and 9 profound threads requirements are set within this ancient forbidden grounds, it likely won't lead us all to annihilation. Yi Chen's words provided some reassurance to the 6 beside him. However, Yi Chen added, even if the 9 exotic beasts don't break into sovereign realm combat power, it's expected that their combat power intensifies the further we go, and their attack modes become more terrifying. As of now, we just reached the 3rd region, and our divine sense probing has been increasingly suppressed. I fear that moving forward, the suppression will be more severe, further decreasing the probing range, reducing our reaction time to danger significantly, and increasing the likelihood of getting killed. In conclusion, don't relax vigilance. Be cautious. Yes. Yes. Kai Menger and the others all nodded and drew closer to Yi Chen. Led by Yi Chen, the group of 7 finally advanced into the dark forest. Upon entering the 3rd region, Yi Chen's divine sense probe only reached over 1,000 yards. For the remaining 6, the probing range was further compressed to just within 100 yards. All 7 extended their divine sense in all directions, observing the disturbances throughout. Thus, Yi Chen's group of 7 wandered through the dark forest for over a day without any new discoveries. The 9 days allotted to pass through the first 3 regions were coming to an end. On the 6th day in the 3rd region, the group ventured far into the depths of the endless forest, the dark forest. The giant trees ahead reached thousands of yards in height. What shocked Yi Chen's group further was when they tested the trees. Even Kai Menger and 2 upper immortal divine venerables couldn't leave a mark on them. The defensive power of the giant trees had reached the upper immortal divine venerable level. Only Yi Chen and 3 other upper immortal divine venerables could destroy the giant trees in the forest. This increased the group's alertness. Whiz, whiz, whiz. On the 6th day, after traversing half the day, the group suddenly heard a peculiar sound. Although very faint, the sound in the silent dense forest quickly grabbed their full attention. Something's amiss. It could be the region where the heart-piercing rat appears. Everyone, be careful. Yi Chen alerted the 6. As soon as Yi Chen finished speaking, a brown light suddenly flashed before the group. Poof! Amidst the flash, as the others just prepared to make a move, Yi Chen raised his finger, sending a sword light slicing toward the brown light. The brown light fell instantly to the ground. 7 people looked down. Seeing the brown light was a rat-like exotic beast, roughly several feet in size, emitting brown divine light with 9 long whiskers. Heart-piercing rat. The 7 quickly recognized the demon as the exotic beast of the 3rd region, the heart-piercing rat. Swish, 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 swish. Without a chance to speak with Yi Chen, Kai Menger and the rest heard increasingly violent chaotic sounds surrounding them. They then witnessed an unbelievable scene. Suddenly, countless brown rays flickered in the region ahead, and probably more than 1,000 heart-piercing rats emerged from underground. Once these heart-piercing rats appeared, some of them shot straight like lightning into the giant trees in the forest. Then, you could see that the giant trees which Kai Menger and the 2 upper immortal divine venerables couldn't destroy started melting visibly once these heart-piercing rats drilled into them. In less than a few breaths, several 1,000-foot-tall giant trees turned to dust. Only then did the heart-piercing rats that had burrowed into the giant trees show themselves again. This scene caused everyone present to gasp in shock. They secretly felt relieved in their hearts that these heart-piercing rats drilled into the giant trees and not their bodies. If they really burrowed into their bodies, few could withstand the terrifying force of this melting corrosion. Heart-piercing rat drills into the heart, incinerates the whole body. I guess that's how the name heart-piercing rat came about, Kai Menger said with a quivering voice. But Yi Chen's eyes flashed with insight. Others hadn't discovered how the heart-piercing rats melted the giant trees. But Yi Chen's blue divine soul was extremely powerful and saw everything clearly. He saw that once these heart-piercing rats burrowed into the giant trees, brown flames directly erupted from their bodies. It was exactly those brown flames that caused the giant trees to melt instantly. The brown flames inside the heart-piercing rats are probably no weaker than my blue extreme ice flame. However, once these heart-piercing rats die, the flames within them dissipate immediately. Otherwise, collecting this kind of flame would be quite the profit. Yi Chen turned his gaze to the heart-piercing rat he had slain. While everyone's mind and spirit were filled with different thoughts, the heart-piercing rats, whether they were the ones burrowing into the trees causing them to melt, or those rapidly flash-killing towards Yi Chen's group of 7, had already crazily surrounded them. At the next moment, the 7 of them were about to be encircled by thousands of heart-piercing rats. Yi Chen once again drove out 2 divine objects, the copper gong and wooden hammer. With a dong sound, the thousands of heart-piercing rats, like the 14 upper immortal divine venerables from the Blood Wing clan before, were directly imprisoned in the void, all revealing their appearances. Swiftly slay them. Yi Chen's voice, like thunder, resonated in the ears of Kai Menger and the other 6. Kai Menger and the 6 others woke up as if from a great dream and hurriedly wielded their divine weapons or trained divine flames, attacking the imprisoned heart-piercing rats. To the surprise of Kai Menger and the 2 weaker upper immortal divine venerables present, even though the heart-piercing rats were entrapped, their body's defensive power remained astonishingly formidable. Despite their unrelenting attacks, they couldn't even penetrate the heart-piercing rat's fur. Ultimately, it was after Yi Chen first injured these heart-piercing rats that they were able to slay them. After repeatedly killing several batches of heart-piercing rats, all 7 of Yi Chen's group gathered the 3rd kind of beast spirit from the heart-piercing rats. But by this time, Kai Menger had completely abandoned the idea of going to the ancient temple to witness the unsurpassed divine fire. She knew that without Yi Chen, she probably wouldn't even be able to reach the 3rd region. Now, upon arriving at the 3rd region, she had to rely on Yi Chen's assistance to kill the exotic beasts inside. Later, she feared that relying on her own abilities to kill other exotic beasts would be even more hopeless. Anyone below the sovereign realm will enter an ancient temple and witness the unsurpassed divine fire inside. The unsurpassed divine fire is only a single flame and surely won't belong to me. I always rely on Yi Chen's help, so there's no way I could compete with Yi Chen for the divine fire, nor would I succeed. I hope Yi Chen can make it to the end. I hope the unsurpassed divine fire belongs to Yi Chen. My goal is just to encounter my sister and see her safe and sound. Kai Menger made up her mind. As long as she met Kai Shower, the 2 of them would follow the ancient steel's instructions, waiting safely until the end of this ancient Forbidden Grounds expedition. She had no other thoughts. The increasingly difficult situation had already made her give up the struggle for the unsurpassed divine fire. I wonder how my sister is doing now. After experiencing the heart-piercing rat's encirclement, Kai Menger became even more worried about Kai Shower. What Kai Menger didn't know was that, in the parallel space where Kai Shower was, Kai Shower and 8 other members of the 9 Flames clan were also caught in the heart-piercing rat's encirclement. However, the number of heart-piercing rats they faced was much fewer, with each group only having a few dozen. By jointly activating a flame divine formation focused on defense, Kai Shower's group spent several days finally exterminating the batches of heart-piercing rats and survived. However, not everyone in other parallel spaces was so fortunate. Poof! Someone carelessly had a heart-piercing rat directly burrow into their body, instantly feeling the heart-piercing rat delve into their heart. In mere seconds, their entire being began to melt, finally becoming a pile of dust. This scene terrified their companions, causing them to scream in horror. Many Dominion Realm members from both the 9 Flames clan and Blood Wing clan either perished in mutual massacre or were slain by the heart-piercing rats. Fewer and fewer people survived, and those determined to seize the unsurpassed divine fire grew fewer as well. After slaying the heart-piercing rats, Yi Chen's group spent several more days finally gathering the 3rd kind of brown 9 profound threads. All 7 finally entered the 4th region on the 10th day of entering the ancient Forbidden Grounds. Upon entering the fourth region, the 9 Beasts Cauldron warned them that the exotic beast of the fourth region was called God-Devouring Caterpillar. Chapter 992, Terrifying Monster Bug. God-Devouring Caterpillar. What kind of exotic beast is it? Upon hearing the 4 words, God-Devouring Caterpillar, several immortal divine venerables from the 9 Flames clan beside Yi Chun secretly shuddered with fear. From the 3 preceding regions they traversed, it was evident that the exotic beasts they encountered were becoming more formidable. The heart-piercing rat in the 3rd region was terrifying to the extreme. Without Yi Chen's help, they would have been hard-pressed to get through it entirely. The God-Devouring Caterpillar they were about to encounter now was clearly going to be even more formidable than the heart-piercing rat. Could they handle it? The immortal divine venerables all looked at Yi Chun. Even Kai Menger wore a worried expression. That heart-piercing rat, with its powerful melting ability, was frightening. I'm afraid it really could pierce the heart and kill. Now the 4th exotic beast is named the God-Devouring Caterpillar. Devouring gods. Does it mean devouring our divine power and divine body or divine soul? The 2 words God-Devouring were too terrifying. Whether they were divine kings or divine venerables, if their divine body, divine power, or divine soul were devoured, it would be a dreadful outcome. Apart from noticing from the 9 Beasts Cauldron that the 4th exotic beast, the God-Devouring Caterpillar, was an extremely strange creature. Yi Chun didn't understand it either. When he asked Xiaojiu hadn't heard of such an exotic beast. From observing the increase in combat power in the previous 3 regions, Yi Chun couldn't afford to be careless. Yi Chun solemnly instructed Kai Menger and the other 6. Everyone, take out all your defensive measures. Be wary of anything unusual. Divine sense probes must continually scan the surroundings, without any relaxation. The others nodded in response. Whether it was the Defense Divine Cloth, Protective Divine Light, or Defensive-type Divine Artifacts, everyone activated them. Each person was engulfed by divine lights, cautiously probing everything around them with divine sense.
Ellis Moment, Yi Tian glänzt Kai Menger.
Among everyone, Kai Menger was the weakest, and because she hadn't anticipated being separated from Kai Meng's sovereign, she hadn't prepared special treasures for protection, making her defensive measures distinctly weaker than the others. Seeing this, Yi Chun moved with his divine sense, and the star-blue divine garment from his ice-snow jade pendant flew out and landed on Kai Menger. Yi Chun, this is... Watching the shimmering star-blue light fall on her, resembling an ethereal divine robe, Kai Menger was stunned. Kai Menger sensed that although this divine garment was not a true ultimate heavenly artifact, its defensive power was immensely strong, could probably resist threats below the sovereign realm. The more she interacted with Yi Chun, the more astonished Kai Menger became. Whether it was Yi Chen's combat power or his various divine skills, they left her in awe. Now even Yi Chen's treasures opened her eyes. Amidst Kai Menger's astonishment, Yi Chun smiled. This is one of my divine robes. You use it for now. Return it to me after the danger has passed. The star-blue divine garment now was entirely different from before. Originally, the star-blue divine garment was crafted from the prototype tattered cloth of an extreme heavenly object. Later, after undergoing another refinement with the power of thunder and lightning in Sovereign Lei Fei's cave, its defensive power improved greatly. Just before Yi Chun arrived at the true Spirit Divine Kingdom, he obtained 2 strange items, the purple-blue thunderflower and purple-blue thunderstone, from the Skywind Divine Master's Cave on Heavenly God Mountain. After further nurturing by the purple-blue thunderflower and purple-blue thunderstone, the current star-blue divine garment, though not capable of defending against all threats below the sovereign realm, could resist most. With the protection of the star-blue divine garment, Kai Menger, who had previously the weakest defense, suddenly became second only to Yi Chun in defensive power, surpassing even the top-grade mysterious heavenly divine artifact defenses of the nearby upper immortal divine venerables. Yi Chun himself directly activated Tai divine power, and both the wind divine pattern and earth divine pattern defensive methods from the eternal god body, thoroughly protecting himself. With everything prepared, Yi-chun led the 6 from the Nine Flames clan, officially venturing into the interior of the 4th region. The 4th region was a place resembling ruins. Everywhere lay broken walls and scattered stones, with countless half-collapsed ruins visible in the distance. It appeared as if this area once contained numerous palaces and pavilions, all subsequently destroyed. Yi-chun led Kai Menger and the other 6, cautiously advancing while searching for the 4th type of Grey 9 profound threads, and defending against the sudden attack from the god-devouring caterpillar. They had advanced for most of the day without any anomalies. Yet none of the 7 dared to relax for even a moment, despite their divine sense depleting severely. None hurried rashly. They waited for complete recovery before continuing. When the 7 reached a location resembling a plaza, the scene before them startled them. Up ahead, they saw 9 people with expressions of terror, strewn across the ground. Their physical bodies appeared unchanged, but judging by their life force, they had all clearly perished in this place. What truly shocked Yi-chun and the 7 was that these 9 people were familiar to them. They were from the Bloodwing clan, 9 individuals below the sovereign realm who entered the ancient forbidden grounds with them. The 3rd region is divided into 10 parallel spaces. The 4th region is divided into 5. This means we will definitely encounter people from another parallel space. The 9 from Bloodwing clan came to the 4th region here. Does it mean that in the 3rd region's parallel space, their Bloodwing clan survived entirely, while our 9 Flames clan perished? Additionally, they reached here like us. Why did they die so quickly? Was it the god-devouring caterpillar that killed them? Even in death, there should have been some struggle before dying, right? Looking at them, it seems they suddenly encountered something incredibly terrifying and couldn't resist. They perished instantly. The deceased Bloodwing Clan 9 showed no signs of battle, yet were dead. Fearful expressions remained on their faces, their bodies scattered across the area, frightening to behold. Yi-chun and the 7 cautiously approached the 9 corpses. One of the immortal divine venerables couldn't resist using divine power to touch a corpse, wishing to see how the person had died. Then something unexpected occurred. The originally preserved corpses suddenly collapsed into countless powder as soon as the immortal divine venerable touched them with divine power. Upon inspecting the powder, no remnants of any physical substance could be found. It resembled mere dirt. It appeared that the deceased Bloodwing clan person's divine body, divine power, and divine soul had been wholly drained. The god-devouring caterpillar. It must be the god-devouring caterpillar that devoured all his signs of life, killing him. This complete disappearance of all divine objects frightened the immortal divine venerable, causing him to cry out. Yi-chun wished to stop his shouting, but it was too late. As the immortal divine venerable's yell spread, the remaining 8 corpses from the Bloodwing clan were impacted by the small sound and collapsed into powder much like the previously touched corpse. The 8 others similarly had their divine body, divine power, and divine soul completely drained. The astonishment did not end there. As the innermost corpse collapsed, a gust of gray eerie wind flew from within. This gust of eerie wind swept towards Yi-chun and the 7 with great speed. Chapter 993- The Ruined Palace. This demon wind swept in at an incredible speed. Upon closer inspection, Yi-chun was startled to find that this demon wind was composed of tiny glowing insects, god-devouring caterpillars. Yi-chun knew that these little insects were definitely the exotic beasts of this 4th territory, god-devouring caterpillars. These god-devouring caterpillars flew out from the corpses of the deceased Bloodwing clan members. It was clear that the 9 deceased Bloodwing clan members were truly killed by the god-devouring caterpillars. Yi-chun observed rapidly. The demon wind composed of countless god-devouring caterpillars swept in just as swiftly. By the time others could barely react, this demon wind had already swept right in front of them. Be careful! In that fleeting moment, Yi-chun didn't have time to activate the 2 divine objects, the copper gong and the wooden hammer. He could only manage to shout this warning, as countless god-devouring demon pests bit into the protective divine light of everyone present. A horrifying scene unfolded. Among the group, two of the weakest members of the Nine Flames clan, had their protective divine light bitten through by numerous god-devouring caterpillars. With a buzzing sound, these demon bugs abruptly flew into their bodies. Subsequently, the two crashed to the ground with a roar, the divine light on their bodies quickly vanishing. In the end, just as the vitality in their bodies disappeared, countless demon insects once again flew out from within them. In a blink of an eye, 2 out of Yi Chen's group of 7 were killed on the spot. The way these 2 died was identical to that of the 9 previously deceased Blood Wing clan members, their faces filled with terror, and the god-devouring caterpillars that flew out from their bodies shone even more brightly. After killing 2 people, these bugs flew towards others, joining their brethren to attack everyone else. On Kai Menger's side, over 10,000 of the grain-sized, god-devouring caterpillars were swarming and gnawing at her. Originally, Kai Menger's defensive power wasn't even stronger than those 2 who died. If not for Yi Chen's star blue divine garment for defense, she would likely already be a corpse. Fortunately, the star blue divine garment, refined from countless divine objects, boasted extraordinarily powerful defense, so strong that even god-devouring caterpillars, which could destroy the divine body, divine power, and divine soul of an upper immortal divine venerable, couldn't break through its defenses at all. Every time the star blue divine garment gently shook, it would shake off tens of thousands of god-devouring caterpillars. In her immense panic, Kai Menger remained unharmed. But the other members of the Nine Flames clan were chilled to the bone. They witnessed their 2 companions die before their eyes, and the manner of their deaths was terrifying. This plunged them into the ultimate horror. What froze them even more was the realization that, although their defenses had not yet been penetrated by the god-devouring caterpillars, their protective divine light was growing weaker. If things continued this way, they would all eventually die at the hands of the god-devouring caterpillars. Just when they were about to scream in horror, they noticed a series of incredibly divine celestial lights targeting the god-devouring caterpillars, gnawing at them. Each streak of celestial light left in its wake the carcasses of god-devouring caterpillars, falling to the ground, and upon those carcasses flickered a strange gray flame that burned them into the void. After several dozen breaths, the over 100,000 grain-sized, god-devouring caterpillars, attacking Kai Menger and the other 3 members of the Nine Flames clan were all slain. Kai Menger and the surviving 3 looked towards the source of the stellar light, and saw that it was none other than Yi Chen who had rescued them. Although Yi Chen hadn't initially had time to activate the copper gong and wooden hammer to restrict these god-devouring caterpillars. By activating the stellar power from the 5th layer of the Stars Tower and executing the Origin Slash, he was still able to rapidly kill all those god-devouring caterpillars. Regrettably, 2 people still perished. Yi Chen. Escaping death, the remaining few flew to Yi Chen's side, still in shock. Seeing the bodies of their fallen companions nearby, all their eyes turned red. Taoist Ning Mang and Taoist Qi Lian have fallen. This was the first time, since they'd ventured into the ancient forbidden grounds, that companions beside them had fallen, and it was in such a manner. This was a profound shock to them. Yi Chen, what should we do? After these god-devouring caterpillars died, no beast spirit appeared, which means we haven't completed the task to obtain the god-devouring caterpillar, beast spirit. That means there are still god-devouring caterpillars here. Thinking of this, chills ran through their bodies. They encountered only a small swarm of god-devouring caterpillars. Yet 9 Blood Wing clan members and 2 of their companions died thereafter. If they encounter more god-devouring caterpillars, they cannot imagine the consequences. Yi Chen's expression turned exceedingly solemn. This 4th territory might not be as easy to traverse. Not only are these god-devouring caterpillars extremely fast, but it's impossible to prepare in advance against them. You can only rely on personal defense to resist their bites. What's even more terrifying is, I discovered that the more these god-devouring caterpillars devour the divine body, divine power, and divine soul within a martial artist, the brighter their bodies shine. Precisely because they shine, we can clearly see them. It's very likely that these divine devouring moths are inherently invisible entities. If they've never devoured a martial artist's divine power, they might be undetectable. In that case, encountering these divine devouring moths would be even more dangerous. Yi Chen's words made the remaining few shiver in mind and spirit. They were already struggling to fend off the visible divine devouring moths. If they truly couldn't see the original forms of the divine devouring moths, it would be even more perilous. If they were careless, the divine devouring moths might drill into their bodies. The consequences of being infiltrated by the divine devouring moths were dire, as they had witnessed. It would devour all of their divine body, divine power, and divine soul. What should we do? Yi Chen, what should we do? The few asked Yi Chen anxiously. Yi Chen fell silent. If he could detect these divine devouring moths earlier, he would have already activated his means to annihilate them promptly. However, the earlier deaths of the two from the Nine Flames clan had made Yi Chen realize that this fourth type of exotic beast, the divine devouring moths, was not so easily dealt with. While he had the power to protect himself, he couldn't be certain of saving others in the blink of an eye from the sudden attacks by the divine devouring moths. Here's the thing. Yi Chen thought for a moment and then spoke up. We've come this far. Everyone should see by now that obtaining the unsurpassed divine fire from that ancient temple is no easy feat. It's very likely that everyone might return empty-handed, or worse, die on the path through the 9 domains. If you're not absolutely confident in advancing, it's best to leave the adventuring area quickly and head to a safe area. Upon entering the heavenly ancient forbidden land, the ancient steel that everyone encountered made it clear that advancing would involve facing attacks by 9 types of exotic beasts in 9 domains. If they were not confident in their exploration, they could activate the ancient heavenly cauldron order in their possession. The ancient heavenly cauldron order would instantly teleport them to a safe area, and when the heavenly ancient forbidden land closed, those in the safe area would be automatically transported out. At this moment, Yi Chen prompted the few from the 9 Flames clan beside him to begin making their choice. The few hesitated. To leave just like that, they were not willing. In past visits to the heavenly ancient forbidden land, with the care of 9-star sovereigns, they might have obtained 1 or 2 divine objects. This time, the abnormal changes in the heavenly ancient forbidden land were entirely different from previous explorations. Having come this far, they hadn't obtained any useful divine objects, so leaving like this would mean missing out on this opportunity in the heavenly ancient forbidden land. Of course, they were unwilling to give up. However, the thought of continuing to venture filled them with immense fear. Even at the 4th domain, the danger was already so grave, and they had no idea how much further they could go. Finally, an upper immortal divine venerable cautiously spoke to Yi Chen. Yi Chen, just now we managed to hold off the divine devouring moths for a moment. Thanks to your assistance, we managed to escape the crisis. This shows we have a brief moment of resistance against the divine devouring moths. How about you lead us a little further, giving us a hand when it matters? Once we truly can't manage, or if we find 1 or 2 divine objects, we'll immediately withdraw. Yi Chen glanced at the other 2 members of the 9 Flames clan, who were also looking at him, and nodded with some anticipation. Looking at their expressions, Yi Chen knew they were not willing to leave just like that. Yi Chen then looked at Kai Menger, who seemed to be entirely willing to follow Yi Chen's arrangements. All right, since everyone isn't ready to leave yet, let's keep moving. However, let me say this up front. If you're attacked by the divine devouring moths and I can't assist on time, should you be killed, don't blame me, Yi Chen warned. Upon hearing Yi Chen's words, the remaining few changed their expressions, but eventually, they all nodded. If we truly die here, it's due to our greed, and we definitely won't blame Yi Chen, they said.
Yi Chen siket inyartli.
Yi Chen's party originally had 7 members, with 2 having perished, leaving 5. The 5 continued on their journey. Yi Chen looked around the plaza, where many had perished. He noticed that the surroundings of the plaza were filled with numerous ruined temples. After searching several temples and finding nothing unusual, Yichun approached the tallest ruined temple near the plaza. As soon as they neared the ruined temple, dozens of gusts of fierce wind suddenly blew towards them. They could only feel the blowing winds but saw nothing within them. Nevertheless, Yichun's expression changed drastically, because, at this moment, an upper immortal divine venerable by his side had his protective divine light torn apart by the winds, and he fell to the ground, screaming. Yichun knew these fierce winds were definitely composed of the god-devouring demon pest. Moreover, this time, there were dozens of times more divine devouring moths than they had previously encountered. And these divine devouring moths, having not yet devoured anyone else's divine body power, were completely invisible and moved even faster than those Yichun had killed before. Chapter 994 - Divine Object and Nameless Mantra. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Yichun had no time to warn others as innumerable god-devouring caterpillars formed a demonic wind that had already reached Kai Menger and the other two surviving immortal divine venerables, relentlessly attacking them. In this life and death moment, they could only rely on their own ability to withstand the instantaneous attack of the god-devouring caterpillars, whose numbers had increased dozens of times. Boom! In an instant, following the previous Nine Flames clan immortal divine venerable who screamed and collapsed, another immortal divine venerable was bitten to death by the god-devouring caterpillars, on the spot. Previously, these individuals could withstand the god-devouring caterpillars for several breaths. But with their numbers now skyrocketing, 2 people were instantly killed. Only Yichun, Kai Menger, and the Nine Flames clan upper immortal divine venerable named Qi Yen were left in the field. After killing 2 upper immortal divine venerables, a huge swarm of god-devouring caterpillars emerged from their corpses. Having devoured the divine body power and divine soul of the deceased, the god-devouring caterpillars finally emitted that cold divine light so familiar to Yichun and the others. It truly was the god-devouring caterpillars. These demonic winds were indeed composed of god-devouring caterpillars. The glowing god-devouring caterpillars that emerged from the 2 deceased joined the insidious wind of god-devouring caterpillars, more violently biting towards Yichun, Kai Menger, and Qi Yen. Kai Menger's pretty face was already full of horror. She hadn't expected to be attacked by the god-devouring caterpillars so soon after just escaping a previous assault. Now 2 more people had died. The only slight relief Kai Menger felt was that the star-blue divine garment Yichun had given her still managed to withstand the attack of the god-devouring caterpillars, whose numbers had grown tens of times. Kai Menger quickly glanced at Yichun and then at Qi Yen beside her, who was still alive. At this moment, both Kai Menger and Qi Yen heard Yichun's voice. Quickly rush into the crumbling temple. These god-devouring caterpillars dare not enter inside. Simultaneously, they finally felt Yichun's rescuing divine power surging towards them. In this moment of life and death, Kai Menger and Qi Yen dared not hesitate. Upon hearing Yichun's voice, they rushed desperately towards the crumbling temple. As they charged forward, they felt the terrifying demonic winds surrounding them being blocked by Yichun's power. 2 breaths later, the 2 of them rushed directly into the crumbling temple. In the next moment, Yichun also dashed inside. Then, the 3 of them saw the countless god-devouring caterpillars, forming a demonic wind continuously swirling outside the crumbling temple. However, as if fearing something, they did not dare to touch the temple. After hovering for dozens of breaths, the demonic wind composed of god-devouring caterpillars seemed to finally abandon the chase of Yichun and the others, abruptly dissipating outside the temple. It was only then that Kai Menger and Qi Yen finally breathed a sigh of relief. Yichun.
Yichun Daoist.
Both looked towards Yichun. Their hands and feet were still trembling with fear. They hadn't expected Yichun's earlier warning to be true, that the 4th domain indeed hid the unseen god-devouring caterpillars, and in such a multitude. Fortunately, with Yichun's help, they managed to dash into the crumbling temple. Otherwise, they, too, might have perished under the claws of the god-devouring caterpillars. Even though they survived by a stroke of luck, 2 companions had perished. If those 2 had known this would be the outcome, they might never have dared to proceed further, preferring to be transported to a safe zone with nothing to show. Regrettably, there's no remedy for regret in the world. Even if their combat power reached the upper immortal divine venerable level, once fallen, they would truly cease to exist. While Kai Menger and Qi Yan were still in shock, Yi Chun looked grimly around the dilapidated temple. With 2 more dead, Yi Chun also felt unsettled inside. But he had advised before. Others were unwilling to leave, which couldn't be helped, and now they must accept this outcome. The most crucial thing now was what lay ahead. This dilapidated temple is the largest hall in this area. Moreover, I noticed earlier that those god-devouring caterpillars forming the demonic winds didn't dare to touch the walls of the temple. There's something strange about this temple. Otherwise, with the temple being so ruined and having so many openings, those god-devouring caterpillars could easily have flown inside. While observing, Yi Chen's divine sense also spread out in all directions within the temple. A few breaths later, Yi Chen's expression changed, and he called out to Kai Menger and Qi Yan, "Come quickly!" Then Yi Chun led the way towards the depths of the temple. When Yi Chun called, Kai Menger and Qi Yan snapped to their senses. Seeing Yi Chun moving, they quickly followed him into the depths of the temple. After walking about a few dozen feet deep and passing through several corridors of the Great Hall, the 3 of Yi Chun entered the innermost chamber of the dilapidated hall. The chamber door is directly open. Upon entering the chamber, the hearts of Kai Menger and Qi Yan suddenly clenched. They saw that the chamber contained dozens of divine lights, protecting dozens of divine objects, displayed within. Divine objects. These are the hidden divine objects of the ancient forbidden grounds. Qi Yan couldn't help but exclaim. Qi Yan immediately noticed that among the dozens of divine objects wrapped in divine light, there were heavenly divine fires. Having wandered through various realms, this was his first discovery of divine objects. Meanwhile, Kai Menger looked at Yi Chun with shock. Although she had previously used divine sense to scan the surroundings and found no chamber, she couldn't imagine Yi Chun had directly discovered such a precious place from the outside. At this moment, amidst Qi Yan's joyous cry and Kai Menger's startled gaze, Yi Chun was heading toward a corner of the chamber. On the wall in that corner were engraved countless lines of small text. Yi Chun looked at these small texts, and Kai Menger followed, standing beside Yi Chun, also looking at this text. Eventually, Qi Yan also came over. After the 3 of them read the small texts, they finally realized. The lines of small text clearly corresponded to the dozens of divine objects in the chamber, serving as activation skills for these divine objects. A total of 28 divine objects, with 28 activation skills. According to the text on the wall, each person can only pick 1 divine object from here. Qi Yan turned back to look at those divine objects. At this moment, Kai Menger was eyeing the last line of the small text. The 28 lines above are activation skills for the divine objects. Yet there is one last line, which is written as some mysterious mantra. It doesn't reveal what it's used for. There are a total of 29 lines of text on the wall. The final line, however, had no indicated use and appeared extremely chaotic, seeming like an anonymous mantra, without any apparent meaning. Yi Chun also focused his gaze on the last line of text. This anonymous mantra wouldn't appear here meaninglessly. It must have some hidden meaning. Yi Chun quietly memorized this last line of mantra. Kai Menger glanced at Qi Yan, who was fixated on the divine objects in the chamber, then looked to Yi Chun and spoke. Yi Chun, everyone can choose 1 divine object here. We've survived and reached here all thanks to you. You should be the one to pick first from these divine objects. Kai Menger's words snapped Qi Yan out of his daze, and he quickly said to Yi Chun, Yi Chun, indeed you should pick the divine object first. Yi Chun chuckled. There are 28 divine objects here, which seem to be of similar value. There's no need for excessive formality. Choose whatever you want freely. Yi Chun had already surveyed these divine objects, and they were all typical ultimate heavenly artifacts. Even the 2 clusters of heavenly grade divine fire didn't seem more precious than his blue extreme ice flame. These divine objects hadn't surprised Yi Chun significantly. This is only the fourth realm, the first appearance of divine objects, probably not very precious. There should be more valuable divine objects later. Yi Chun thought. With ample treasures on him, Yi Chun remained calm, while Kai Menger and Qi Yen stared at the divine objects in the chamber with shining eyes. Kai Menger, although the daughter of Kai Meng's sovereign, a 9-star sovereign, found it hard to acquire an ultimate heavenly artifact. She was naturally excited to obtain one now. Meanwhile, Qi Yen, a talented upper immortal divine venerable from a branch of the Nine Flames clan, lacked a handy divine object and was even more thrilled with the opportunity for one. After consulting Yi Chun several times, both Kai Menger and Qi Yen finally began their selection.
Que Menger chose à défensive divine object ressembling à bracelet. Qian cose à défensive divine robe.
Evidently, the earlier assault by the god-devouring caterpillar had frightened them considerably, leading them to prioritize selecting defensive divine objects. After making a full circuit, Yi Chun's gaze finally settled on a cluster of cold snow flame known as the Cold Snow Flame, which was a heavenly grade divine fire. Though this divine fire wasn't as good as the blue extreme ice flame, he was willing to acquire another piece of divine fire. Moreover, the wall still held the activation skill to claim it. Once all three had chosen a divine object, they left the chamber and proceeded to other places. After thoroughly searching other areas without new discoveries, the three returned to the original Great Hall. This time, without needing Yi Chun's reminder, Qi Yen directly said to Yi Chun, "Yi Chun, I dare not go to other places anymore. We've managed to get a divine object without losing our lives, and it's thanks to you. I'm preparing to directly use the ancient Heavenly Cauldron Order to teleport to a safe area. Otherwise, greed might lead me to the same fate as those fallen friends." After saying this, Qi Yen bowed deeply to Yi Chun and, regardless of Kai Menger and Yi Chun's decisions, directly activated the ancient Heavenly Cauldron Order, being enveloped by divine light and transported to the safe zone of the ancient Forbidden Grounds. Inside the Great Hall, only Yi Chun and Kai Menger remained. Chapter 995 Encounter. Yi Chun looked at Kai Menger, wanting to see how she would choose. Kai Menger hesitated as well. Kai Menger knew that, with her real strength, she actually shouldn't have made it to the fourth region. It's all thanks to Yi Chun that she could reach here. Going further, Kai Menger has no confidence at all. And now, she has obtained a defensive artifact, which makes the trip to the ancient Forbidden Grounds worthwhile. Kai Menger's only concern is that she hasn't met her sister Kai Shower yet. Otherwise, she would have already teleported to the safety zone. After hesitating for a long time, Kai Menger finally made up her mind. Staying here won't help. To meet Shower, I might not even find her in the 5th region, perhaps only in the 6th region. It's also possible that Shower has already teleported to the safety zone and is no longer exploring other parallel spaces. Continuing on won't help Shower but will unnecessarily burden Yi Chun, making him constantly distracted looking after me. If we encounter danger ahead, it might even implicate Yi Chun. I should leave and see if Shower is outside. Having thought about it, Kai Menger took off the star blue divine garment and returned it to Yi Chun, saying softly, "Yi Chun, thank you for taking care of me along the way. I'm preparing to leave. I dare not explore the 4th region further." Hearing Kai Menger's words, Yi Chun nodded. In Yi Chun's heart, he didn't want Kai Menger to continue the risky adventure. Kai Menger hesitated for a few moments and looked at Yi Chun with her beautiful eyes. "Yi Chun, once I leave, you'll be the only one left in this parallel space of the 4th region. You must be careful. I know your strength is not just what we see. You might be the most hopeful candidate to obtain the unsurpassed divine fire in the ancient temple. But the ancient Forbidden Grounds are mysterious and unpredictable. You still need to be cautious. When you come out, I hope you won't rush to that extreme spirit sea, so we can meet again." Saying this, Kai Menger became somewhat sentimental. Although the girl hadn't spent much time with Yi Chun, she had a special attachment to him. Kai Menger's words made Yi Chun smile gently. "Don't worry, I will definitely come out safely. Besides, I'm still waiting for Tsongmeng Sovereign to send me to the extreme spirit sea of the Spirit Clan. Okay. Kai Menger nodded gently. I'll wait for you outside. The words were as they said. However, in the girl's heart, there was an ominous feeling that perhaps once she leaves, it would be difficult to meet Yi-chan again. After a brief melancholy of parting, the ancient heavenly cauldron order in Kai Menger's hand shimmered, finally teleporting her out of the fourth region, into the safety zone. When Kai Menger arrived at the safety zone, she noticed it was surprisingly clusters of divine light floating in the void. She didn't know where these divine light clusters were located in the ancient forbidden grounds. At this time, quite a few people were already inside those divine light clusters, including the immortal divine Venerable Qi Yen who had left before her, in a nearby divine light cluster. There were also quite a few people from the Nine Flames clan and Bloodwing clan. It seems these people feared the dangers of the ancient forbidden grounds and left early. Among the crowd, Kai Menger spotted a figure. Shower! Kai Menger shouted directly. The figure Kai Menger saw was of a pretty little girl, who was none other than her sister Kai Shower, whom she had been worried about. Kai Menger wanted to fly towards Kai Shower but found herself restrained within the divine light cluster, unable to move freely. It seemed this divine light cluster was protecting them while also restricting their movements. At this time, Kai Shower also heard Kai Menger's voice and saw her. The little girl shouted with surprise, "Sister, why did you come out so late? I thought you were in trouble. Worried for a long time." Seeing Kai Shower safe and sound, Kai Menger was completely relieved, and she said to Kai Shower, "I was able to come out safely thanks to Yi-chen's help. Sister, did you meet Yi-chen?" Kai Shower felt a burst of excitement upon hearing Yi-chen's name. "I struggled to the fourth region but didn't encounter Yi-chan, and finally dared not go further and came out. Sister, will Yi-chan continue to explore?" Kai Menger gazed at the vast, ancient, forbidden grounds. Now that she was teleported to the safety zone, she didn't know where Yi-chan was anymore. She could only look at the vast expanse and nod to Kai Shower. "Yes, Yi-chan will keep exploring. I fear he won't stop until he's reached the ancient temple land." In the ruined hall, after Qi Yen and Kai Menger left, Yi-chan was the only one left in the entire ruined hall. At this time, Yi-chan was unaware that Kai Menger had met Kai Shower in the safety zone, and the two were talking about him. Now, Yi-chen's thoughts were entirely focused on what's ahead. "I just exterminated 2 batches of god-devouring caterpillars, but couldn't obtain the beast soul. Seems I'll need to continue exploring the fourth region, and must strive to obtain the fourth kind of 9 profound threads. Now, let's continue the action." Boom! With this thought, Yi-chen's body flashed with divine light and flew straight out of the shattered hall. Buzz! 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 As soon as Yi-chan flew out of the ruined hall, countless god-devouring caterpillars, waiting outside, transformed into terrifying dozens of storms, rushing towards Yi-chan aggressively. But this time, without the concern of needing to protect others or the worry of completely exposing his strength, Yi-chan acted alone, which felt much more liberating. Swoosh! Seeing the storms composed of dozens of god-devouring caterpillars swirling towards him, Yi-chan let out a long howl, and the speed technique Extreme Wind Wings and attack technique Limitless Wind Blade from his eternal god body's Wind Divine pattern erupted directly. At the same time, Yi-chen's Tai Divine Power drew the stellar power from the star's tower, unleashing the Origin Slash. Only to see, as Yi-chen's giant wings behind him flapped, endless killing light enveloped his entire body. Boom! 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 Yi-chan did not dodge but instead rushed towards the dozens of god-devouring caterpillars' storms, attacking fiercely. In an instant, Yi-chan devastated all the god-devouring caterpillars within the storms. Moments later, without stopping for a breath, Yi-chan dashed towards other places in the fourth realm. 2 days later, Yi-chan emerged from the fourth realm with the fourth beast spirit, the god-devouring caterpillars, beast spirit, and the fourth 9 profound threads, also achieving the 9 spots gray 9 profound threads. In these 2 days, Yi-chan searched through numerous ruined halls in the fourth realm and encountered hundreds of attacks from god-devouring caterpillars. There were over a dozen batches of god-devouring caterpillars, even more formidable than those he had met before. Had Kai Menger and Qi Yen not left, they might have perished in those encounters. Continuing his search, Yi Chun also found several halls hiding divine objects. In the end, Yi Chun acquired several divine objects, including several types of fire element materials useful for cultivating his eternal god body's fire divine pattern. What puzzled Yi Chun most was that in the halls where he found divine objects, he also discovered that unnamed mantra. In these divine object halls, the divine objects differed, with each hall allowing only one divine object to be taken. But strangely, the final mantra in all the halls was the exact same unnamed mantra. All these halls leave the same unnamed mantra. This unnamed mantra must have special significance. However, the unnamed mantras seem incomplete. There is always a feeling that something is missing. The fourth realm only has this kind of unnamed mantra. Could there be other unnamed mantras in the subsequent realms? Yi Chun pondered intently. After thinking for a long time without understanding, Yi Chun decided not to dwell on it. It's more important to continue to the fifth realm. The fourth realm is divided into 5 parallel spaces. The fifth realm is divided into 3 parallel spaces, which implies I might encounter other people ahead. If I encounter the Blood Wing clan members, there's still something I need to do. While contemplating, Yi Chun strode out of the fourth realm's exit, stepping into the fifth realm. As Yi Chun entered the fifth realm, he didn't realize that a day later, 3 individuals would step into the same parallel space within the fifth realm from another parallel space exit in the fourth realm. Looking at these 3, it's clear they all belong to the Blood Wing clan. Among them, Shuling Chan, whom the Blood Wing clan prioritized for cultivation, and even the Blood Origin Divine Master taught some divine skills, is one of the 3. Next to Shuling Chan are 2 formidable upper immortal divine venerables of the Blood Wing clan. At this moment, as the 3 looked at the newly entered fifth realm, one said, "The fifth realm is only divided into 3 parallel spaces. I wonder whom we'll encounter in our parallel space. It would be interesting to meet members of the Nine Flames clan." Another upper immortal divine venerable chuckled, "Haha, with Ling Chan joining us this time, we're practically invincible. Whenever we met the Nine Flames clan members, they were all slaughtered on the spot by us. The Nine Flames clan better pray not to meet us in this parallel space, or they'll be in big trouble." Amid the conversation between the 2, Shuling Chan raised an eyebrow disdainfully. "Humph. The Nine Flames clan members don't deserve to be our opponents. Encountering them and casually dealing with them is no more than a trivial matter. The key in this fifth realm is finding the 5th type of Silver 9 profound threads. Moreover, we must locate the 9-spotted Silver 9 profound threads." Upon hearing Shuling Chan's words, the 2 upper immortal divine venerables nodded repeatedly. With Ling Chan's strength, the unsurpassed divine fire in this realm's ancient temple definitely belongs to Ling Chan. I fear only Ling Chan has obtained 4 types of 9-spotted 9 profound threads so far. Chapter 996 Ice Pool, Snow Toad. Thinking about how Shuling Chan obtained 4 types of 9-spotted 9 profound threads, these 2 upper immortal divine venerables from the Bloodwing tribe were both envious and jealous. Originally, they also possessed 1 type of 9-spotted 9 profound threads, but in the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th realms, they failed to acquire the other 3 top-level 9 profound threads. Yet, right under their noses, Shuling Chan obtained them. This comparison made them realize that in the competition for the unsurpassed divine fire in the ancient temple, they had already lost ground to Shuling Chan. Coupled with Shuling Chan's formidable combat power, the 2 had given up on competing for the unsurpassed divine fire, and now only wanted to cooperate with Shuling Chan to get some benefits. Their words of flattery were indeed well appreciated by Shuling Chan. Shuling Chan smiled smugly and looked toward the vast sky of the 5th realm. It's not entirely true. For someone else to consecutively achieve what I did in acquiring all 4 types of 9-spotted 9 profound threads from different realms is nearly impossible. However, there is one person who could achieve this. Who? The two upper immortal divine venerables beside Shuling Chan hastily asked. Shuling Chan snorted coldly. It's none other than Blood Flying Yen, who came to the ancient forbidden grounds with me. Blood Flying Yen? The two upper immortal divine venerables were shocked. That woman can actually rival Taoist Ling Chan? They recalled the cold woman who accompanied Shuling Chan previously. They only noted Blood Flying Yan's cold demeanor, but hadn't realized her combat power could be so extraordinary. Humph, Blood Flying Yen rarely shows herself, but like me, she was specially nurtured. From what I understand, her methods are far more ruthless and powerful than mine. If we're talking about competing for the unsurpassed divine fire, she might be my greatest opponent. Thinking of Blood Flying Yen, Shuling Chan's expression turned grim. Although both were from the Bloodwing tribe, when it came to such a precious item as the unsurpassed divine fire, he certainly wouldn't give it up easily. He had to fight for it fiercely. The two upper immortal divine venerables from the Bloodwing tribe couldn't quite grasp Shuling Chan's mindset. They laughed and said, regardless, both Taoist Ling Chan and Taoist Fei Yen are from our tribe. As long as the unsurpassed divine fire ends up with our tribe, that's fine. Just as long as those from the Nine Flames clan don't get it. The conversation among the three touched upon the Bloodwing tribe, the Nine Flames clan, the Nine-Spotted Nine Profound Threads, and Blood Flying Yen. However, they never once mentioned Yi Chen. They could never have imagined that Yi Chen, who they hadn't paid any attention to, also obtained 4 types of Nine-Spotted Nine Profound Threads in the previous 4 realms. They were even less aware that just as they were entering the 5th realm, Yi Chen had already found the key location in the 5th realm and was making efforts to acquire the 5th type of Nine-Spotted Nine Profound Threads. The 5th realm was a world of snow-covered space. As soon as Yi Chen entered this space, he received a message from the Nine Beasts Cauldron that the exotic beast corresponding to this 5th space was called the Snowflame Toad. He must obtain the beast spirit of the Snowflame Toad in this 5th realm. The 9 profound threads corresponding to the 5th realm were the Silver 9 Profound Threads. After receiving this information from the Nine Beasts Cauldron, Yi Chen began his search for the Snowflame Toad and Silver 9 Profound Threads in the snow-covered space. Yet, in this snow-filled world, he found nothing, complete silence. Yi Chen searched for a long time and finally discovered a total of 9 spaced-apart ice pools in this snow-covered world. These 9 ice pools increased in size from the edges toward the center. The outermost ice pool was only a few zhang in diameter, a small pond with melting snow emitting cold air. But the central ice pool was several hundred zhang wide, and the cold air emanating from this central ice pool was many times colder than the surrounding snowy landscape and the other ice pools. Yi Chen noted that as he approached the center, the coldness of these 9 ice pools became more terrifying. With his combat power, he could barely stand beside the central ice pool without freezing. Yi Chen had a premonition that if it were any other average upper immortal divine venerable, they would likely freeze to death upon approaching the central ice pool. The mere cold was enough to kill an upper immortal divine venerable, illustrating the horror of this ice pool. Beneath the ice pool, there was likely even greater peril. Upon discovering the 9 ice pools, Yi Chen had a feeling that the Snowflame Toad and Silver 9 Profound Threads he'd been searching for were probably within these ice pools. However, after observing the ice pools for a long time, Yi Chen still didn't detect any movement from the Snowflame Toad. When Yi Chen tried using his divine sense to probe the inside of the ice pools, he was astonished to find that even with his divine soul having reached the blue divine soul level, he couldn't probe inside these ice pools at all. Even for the marginal ice pool with the weakest cold, he was unable to explore its internal situation. This left Yi Chen both surprised and intrigued. These 9 ice pools surely contain some profound mysteries, Yi Chen pondered in his mind. As Yi Chen was contemplating various ways to probe the ice pools, an anomaly occurred. Bang! Suddenly, from the ice pool in the center, a crisp sound was heard, followed by a ray of divine light shooting out from the ice pool, flying towards Yi Chen. Startled, Yi Chen quickly used his divine sense to envelop the divine light, only to discover that the object flying towards him was a long wooden block. On the long wooden block, many characters were inscribed. Yi-chun then used his divine power to bind the long wooden block in the void, and proceeded to read the text on it. After a few breaths, Yi-chun moved the wooden block into his hand with a thought. Holding the wooden block, Yi-chun murmured, "So that's how it is. No wonder I've been here for half a day and haven't noticed any sign of the snowflame toad, or silver 9 profound threads. It turns out that snowflame toad only appears at special times. Indeed, within these 9 ice pools, there are snowflame toads and silver 9 profound threads. According to the instructions on the long wooden block, each of the 9 ice pools hides 9 levels of silver 9 profound threads and 9 levels of snowflame toads. Only by slaying the lower-level snowflame toads can their bodies be used to lure out the higher-level snowflame toads. Of course, if one dares not confront the higher-level snowflame toads, then collecting the bodies of 9 lower-level snowflame toads would trigger the appearance of a silver 9 profound thread within the corresponding ice pool. Yi-chun's goal is to obtain the 9 spotted silver 9 profound threads. According to the instructions on the block, the 9 spotted silver 9 profound threads are in the central ice pool. The central pool is also the highest level ice pool. To acquire the 9 spotted silver 9 profound threads, this implies not only needing to slay the lower-level snowflame toads in the first 8 ice pools, using their bodies to draw out the highest-level snowflame toad in the central pool, but also having to kill at least 9 highest-level snowflame toads to trigger the appearance of the 9 spotted silver 9 profound threads. Initially, one must start by slaying the snowflame toads from the lowest-level ice pool. The block says the snowflame toad in the leftmost ice pool is the weakest, and this weakest snowflame toad will only appear after the water in the leftmost ice pool completely turns silver. Yi-chun gazed towards the leftmost ice pool, noticing that the water inside was still a normal faintly transparent color, with no trace of silver. The block says that every 3 days the color of the water in the leftmost ice pool changes. It seems that just before I arrived here, the color of the ice pool had just changed, so I'll need to wait a while longer. Yi-chun began to wait by the leftmost ice pool. More than half a day later, Yi-chun noticed a hint of silver light appearing in the corner of the leftmost ice pool, and the water was gradually turning silver. This delighted Yi-chun, who had been waiting all this time. It looks like it will take just over a day for the water in the leftmost pool to completely turn silver. Finally witnessing the change in the pool water's color, Yi-chun was in no hurry and continued to patiently wait. However, Yi-chun was unaware that while he waited for the color of the leftmost ice pool to change, Shuling-chan and 2 other upper immortal divine venerables from the Blood Wing clan, who had also entered the 5th location space, were gradually approaching the area with the ice pools where he was located after traversing extensive territories. Meanwhile, in 2 other parallel spaces in the 5th location, one parallel space astonishingly had 4 people led by Blood-Flying Yen of the Blood Wing clan taking actions together, while the other parallel space had 3 upper immortal divine venerables from the 9 Flames clan. After the perilous excursions through the previous 4 locations, only 11 people, including Yi-chun, had entered the 5th location. These 11 individuals were all formidable experts. The others either perished in the previous 4 locations or exited the exploration area and were transported to the safe boundary. As Shuling-chan's group of 3 were closing in on Yi-chun in his parallel space, in the other 2 parallel spaces, Blood-Flying Yan's group and the 3 from the 9 Flames clan were also gradually approaching their area with the 9 ice pools. And in the safe zone, when the last 11 individuals completely entered the 5th location, Kai Menger, Kai Shower, and others in the safe zone noticed that a gigantic light screen appeared directly in the void of the safe zone. The moment the light screen emerged, it flickered for an instant, then quickly vanished. Yet all personnel in the safe zone saw that the light screen indicated that only 11 people remained in the 5th location, and only 11 people still qualified to compete for the unsurpassed divine fire in the ancient temple. Chapter 997-3 versus 1. 11 people. Only 11 people have entered the 5th region. The 5th region is divided into 3 parallel spaces. I wonder how many of them will encounter each other, and how many will survive the conflicts and battles within the 5th region to finally break through to the 6th region. More than 20 people in the safety zone, who are no longer eligible to compete for the unsurpassed divine fire, were softly discussing while looking at the place where the light screen disappeared. In the crowd, the sisters Kai Menger and Kai Shower exchanged a glance and began to communicate telepathically. Kai Menger said worriedly, "In our parallel space, only Yi-chan entered the 5th region. I wonder whom he will encounter there. If he encounters the group from the Bloodwing clan that has entered the 5th region, it will be troublesome." Although the little girl Kai Shower was also a bit worried, she remained calm. Brother Yi-chan is so powerful, he will surely be fine. Although all those who managed to survive the god-devouring caterpillar attacks in the 4th region and entered the 5th region are definitely the most formidable individuals, I believe Brother Yi-chan is the most mysterious and powerful of them all. Kai Shower's words made Kai Menger nod unconsciously. Just worried that the Bloodwing clan might have hidden trump cards. However, Yi-chan also has many methods he hasn't used yet. He said he's not afraid of others, so he should be fine. While Kai Shower and Kai Menger were contemplating Yi-chan's situation, many individuals from the Nine Flames clan and the Bloodwing clan were also pondering who from their clans had finally entered the 5th region. Especially the Bloodwing clan, who knew of the prowess of Shuling Chan and Blood Flying Yen, felt sure of themselves. Shuling Chan and Blood Flying Yen are the ones our clan focuses on nurturing. The two of them must be among the 11 individuals in the 5th region, and they definitely have the strength to continue advancing. No need to worry about them. Whoever opposes them is courting death. Let's see if Shuling Chan and Blood Flying Yen can make it to the final 9th region. The 5th region is absolutely no problem for them. Just as Kai Shower trusted in Yi-chan's strength, these individuals from the Bloodwing clan also had complete faith in the capabilities of Shuling Chan and Blood Flying Yen. While those in the safety zone were discussing the emergence of the final 11 people on the light screen, Yi-chan was waiting at the edge of the ice pool, anticipating the transformation of the first pool's water into silver. In the space where Yi-chan was located, Shuling Chan and 2 other upper immortal divine venerables had been flying for more than half the day, gradually closing in on Yi-chan. A few thousand miles, a few hundred miles, a few dozen miles, when Shuling Chan and the other 2 flew to about 8 miles from Yi-chan, who was silently observing the transformation of the ice pool's water, his eyes suddenly gleamed. Yi-chan had detected Shuling Chan and the other 2. Upon entering the 5th region, the exploration range of Yi-chan's divine sense had been compressed to a radius of 8 miles. Yet, despite the suppression, Yi-chan was the first to discover Shuling Chan and the others, while they failed to notice him. Under the same suppression of divine sense, Shuling Chan's search range was only a radius of 5 miles, and the other 2 upper immortal divine venerables could only search 3 miles, far less than Yi-chan. At this time, they continued to fly near Yi-chan's position, searching all around, unaware that Yi-chan had already spotted them. These 3 are indeed from the Bloodwing clan. The Bloodwing clan, worthy of being the top-ranked of the 5 major advanced life clans of the True Spirit Divine Kingdom, could get 3 people here together. Yi-chan squinted his eyes, pondering inwardly. Judging by their actions, they will eventually discover these ice pools and me as well, if they don't interfere with me and acquire the 9 profound threads from the ice pool normally. Then there's nothing to worry about, but if they aim to snatch something from me, well, perhaps I can prepare to acquire that item I've always wanted. As Yi-chan pondered, Shuling Chan and the other 2 flew ever closer to him. In the 5th region, while divine sense is suppressed, flight speed also slowed considerably. Each breath covered only a few hundred feet. Although their flight path wasn't directly towards Yi-chan, after a while, they finally entered within a 5-mile radius of Yi-chan. At this time, Shuling Chan immediately discovered Yi-chan. Ha! Shuling Chan's divine sense swept towards Yi-chan, and upon seeing the 9 sudden ice pools that emerged beside Yi-chan, his eyes brightened sharply. 9 ice pools here. Without hesitation, Shuling Chan changed course, flying directly towards Yi-chan and the ice pools. Fellow Taoist Ling Chan, said the 2 upper immortal divine venerables beside Shuling Chan, stunned by his actions. The 2 of them knew that Shuling Chan must have discovered something, so they immediately followed Shuling Chan and flew up. When they flew to a spot 3 miles away from Yi-chan, they also spotted Yi-chan and the 9 ice pools. Someone is actually in this 5th territory, and it's a divine king. Isn't this divine king the one who entered the ancient forbidden grounds with the Nine Flames clan? He could actually break through to the fifth territory. The two upper immortal divine venerables were stunned. They had a rather deep impression of Yi Chen. After all, Yi Chen, who was not from the true spirit divine kingdom, joined the expedition into the ancient forbidden grounds, attracting everyone's attention. But they absolutely did not expect Yi Chen to appear here. They thought that Yi Chen, being a divine king, would be lucky to break through to the second territory. And those ice pools, there are actually 9 of them appearing next to that divine king. It seems that those 9 ice pools certainly have some oddity. Upon discovering Yi Chen, their attention swiftly shifted to the 9 ice pools beside him. In an instant, Shuling Chan and the other 2 flew down to avoid dozens of feet away from Yi Chen. So cold. The chill emanating from the 9 ice pools made the faces of the 2 upper immortal divine venerables change, but the 2 were strong enough to follow Shuling Chan into the 5th territory, so they ranked among the top in the Bloodwing clan's upper immortal divine venerables. Even though the chill surprised them, they could withstand it. After adjusting to the ice pool's chill, the 2 upper immortal divine venerables focused their gaze on Yi Chen. They transmitted their voices to Shuling Chan. Ling Chan, this divine king could also break through to the 5th territory, and even discovered the 9 ice pools before us. Judging by the looks, he entered the 5th territory before us. These 9 ice pools must have peculiar traits. I wonder if he got his hands on any treasures by arriving early. Upon hearing the mentioned treasures, Shuling Chan's eyes instantly flashed with brilliance, and his gaze on Yi Chen carried a touch of hostility. As someone who wishes to dominate the unsurpassed divine fire, Shuling Chan naturally doesn't want valuable things to fall into others' hands or let Yi Chen take the lead with the treasures of the 5th territory. Treasure? Even if he got his hands on it first, do you think he can keep it? Shuling Chan transmitted his voice to them disdainfully. Upon hearing Shuling Chan's words, the 2 upper immortal divine venerables felt excited inside. Knowing Shuling Chan was provoked and wouldn't let treasures easily fall into others' hands. However, they were still somewhat hesitant. Ling Chan, although he is a divine king, he must be extraordinary to break into the 5th territory. We cannot take him lightly. A divine king? Extraordinary? Shuling Chan sneered. No matter how extraordinary he is, can he be more extraordinary than me? Shuling Chan's words made the 2 upper immortal divine venerables feel assured. Indeed, Ling Chan, you have been trained by the blood origin divine master. This divine king, no matter how extraordinary, is indeed no match for Ling Chan. Saying this, they looked at Yi Chen with an unrestricted gaze, which had shifted from initial surprise to boldness. Seeing the expressions of the 3, Yi Chen seemed to sense their intentions. Yi Chen sighed and stood up from his seated spot at the edge of the pool. Just as Yi Chen stood up, Shuling Chan's frigid voice directly entered Yi Chen's ears. Kid, what did you find by the pool? Quickly report to the 3 of us. Shuling Chan's voice carried a hint of disdain and disregard. He was indeed surprised that a divine king such as Yi Chen could break into the 5th territory. Yet, as he claimed, he had been taught divine skills by the blood origin divine master, believing that no matter how strong Yi Chen may be as a divine king, he could certainly not surpass himself. Moreover, by his side were 2 other Bloodwing clan upper immortal divine venerables who were not much weaker than him. He certainly would not take Yi Chen, who was alone, seriously, nor would he consider Yi Chen's thoughts. He directly ordered Yi Chen. Shuling Chan's cold words made Yi Chen raise an eyebrow. Looking at Shuling Chan's expression, then at the 2 Bloodwing clan upper immortal divine venerables beside, eagerly awaiting a show, Yi Chen shook his head and smiled gently. I believe I don't know the 3 of you. Why should I tell you what I know? Chapter 998 Earth-Shattering Battle. Swish. Yi Chen's casual words shocked the 2 upper immortal divine venerables beside Shuling Chan, nearly causing them to fall from the void. The 2 never expected that Yi Chen would respond this way under Shuling Chan's command. Did this God King still believe he could handle Ling Chan? Not just Ling Chan. Even though they felt Yi Chen was somewhat extraordinary to have reached the 5th realm, any one of them could also reach the 5th realm alone. They did not believe Yi Chun was superior to them. The three of them were here, intimidating this god king, yet he remained so composed. The two upper immortal divine venerables thought Yi Chun must be crazy. This god king must either be crazy, lacking experience, thinking he's invincible with some strength, or he might have special tricks, unique confidence. The two upper immortal divine venerables thought. There's probably more chance of the first possibility. To be safe, let's leave it to Ling Chan to deal with him. Ling Chan can handle him without any issues. Thinking this, the two upper immortal divine venerables shrank back towards Shuling Chan. Shuling Chan immediately guessed their thoughts. Shuling Chan smirked coldly at the two beside him, saying, "Are you too scared of this god king? Fine, leave this person to me." Boom! As he spoke, Shuling Chan took a step closer to Yi Chun from the void heaven. He looked down at Yi Chun by the ice pool and sneered, "Boy, you seem to have some confidence to dare speak to me like this." Shuling Chan's words made Yi Chun smile. "You are an upper god king realm, and so am I. Why can't I speak to you like this? Truly an arrogant boy. Can a god king be equal to another god king? Some god kings only possess the combat power of ordinary god kings, while others have the combat power of earth divine venerables, heavenly divine venerables, and immortal divine venerables, a huge difference. And me, as a god king, I am at a level you can only look up to." After scoffing at Yi Chun, Shuling Chan didn't want to waste more words with Yi Chun. "Since you refuse to report honestly, I'll kill you first and conduct a soul search. Naturally, I'll find out everything then." Bang! While speaking, Shuling Chan's body suddenly emitted divine light, and amidst the soaring divine light, he pointed a finger, sending a sky-splitting blood-red spear shadow slashing towards Yi Chun. Even though the fifth space suppressed divine power and divine sense, the blood-red spear shadow Shuling Chan unleashed was tens of meters long, and the speed of the spear shadow was unparalleled. In an instant it approached Yi Chun. Seeing the blood-red spear shadow coming to kill, Yi Chun, already prepared, showed no panic. His expression darkened, and his eternal god body, wind divine pattern, combat technique, limitless wind blade, instantly activated. Swish, swish, swish. A blade storm rushed to meet the sky-shattering blood-red spear shadow head-on. Boom! When the blade storm collided with the blood-red spear shadow, a deafening explosion resounded in the void. This move showed Yi Chun with no weakness, directly shattering Shuling Chan's attack. Meanwhile, the pair of massive wings formed by the eternal god bodies, wind divine pattern, speed technique, extreme wind wings, behind Yi Chun suddenly flapped. Yi Chun also soared into the void, directly facing Shuling Chan head-on. Above the void heaven, on one side was Yi Chun, on the other was Shuling Chan and his two companions. Shuling Chan didn't expect Yi Chun actually dared to engage him. Seeing Yi Chun shatter his attack with a move and the massive wings behind Yi Chun, Shuling Chan's eyes gleamed. Eternal god bodies wind divine pattern technique. No wonder you dared to speak to me that way. You actually cultivated the eternal god body. The eternal god body was created for cultivation. Why should I not cultivate it? Yi Chun gazed calmly at Shuling Chan. "What, you don't dare to make another move? Afraid?" Shuling Chan laughed to the sky. "You cultivating the eternal god body merely surprised me. Seeing your wind divine pattern attack power, you haven't fully cultivated the eternal god body. What do I have to fear? Earlier I was merely testing you. Since you seek death, I'll send you on your way." As he spoke, Shuling Chan's expression suddenly turned cold. He reached out and a treasure shaped like a small pagoda appeared in his hand. "Suppression!" Shuling Chan shouted, and the palm-sized pagoda in his hand vanished instantly. The next moment, above Yi Chen's head, a 1,000-yard behemoth divine tower appeared. This divine tower oppressed Yi Chun heading down. As the divine tower suppressed him, Yi Chun felt a mysterious binding force emanating from the divine tower, aiming to bind him directly, crushing him to death with the tower. If it were anyone below the sovereign realm, they might not withstand the divine tower's binding and suppression. But Yi Chun is no ordinary person. Yi Chen's Tai divine power suddenly shook, and the binding force coming from the divine tower was directly dispersed by Yi Chun, and the massive wind wings behind Yi Chun flapped, allowing him to instantly flash out from beneath the divine tower. At the same time, Yi Chun clasped his palm, and the gourd sword gifted to him by Huyen Divine Master in the Demon Tomb appeared directly in his hand. At this moment, Yi Chun had long been able to fully drive all the flying swords in the gourd sword. With a thought of Yi Chen's mind and spirit, all 1,000 flying swords in the gourd sword, along with Yi Chen's life-bound flying sword Crimson Fire, a total of 1,001 flying swords, burst out of the gourd. The gourd sword contains 1,000 flying swords, all of which are top-grade mysterious heavenly divine artifacts. Moreover, they were crafted by Huyen Divine Master. Yi Chen's life-bound flying sword was specially crafted by Huyen Divine Master and nurtured in the gourd as the main divine artifact of this set of flying swords. It has naturally already been elevated to the level of a top-grade mysterious heavenly divine artifact. 1,001 top-grade mysterious heavenly divine artifacts, and they are divine objects crafted by the Divine Master. To Yi Chun, this was more useful than the ultimate heavenly artifact he couldn't yet fully control. When Yi Chun drove the 1,001 flying swords, they instantly transformed into sword shadows as mighty as giant dragons, rushing toward the divine tower driven by Shuling Chan. Boom! 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 Countless flying swords bombarding the divine tower were causing earth-shattering blasts in the void and emitted blinding collision divine light. Shuling Chan's divine tower was no ordinary artifact. The flying swords could not shatter it. However, under the bombardment of 1,001 flying swords, the divine tower was still incessantly forced to fly backward. This scene genuinely made the two upper immortal divine venerables beside Shuling Chan change their complexion dramatically. The two could see that despite Shuling Chan using powerful means, the God King on the opposite side could still confront Shuling Chan head-on and resist directly. This frightened them so much that they dared not stay close to Shuling Chan, involuntarily retreating several hundred zhang further. Their fearful expressions, combined with Yi Chen's continual suppression, enraged Shuling Chan fiercely. At this moment, Shuling Chan no longer cared about those two Blood Wing clan upper immortal divine venerables. He only wanted to kill Yi Chen sooner, completely kill him. Boom! Instantly, Shuling Chan pointed his finger at the divine tower, which whirled and suddenly changed from its original size and color to a blood red. The color-changing divine tower seemed to have greatly increased its defensive power, directly blocking the frontal impact of the gourd sword's 1,001 flying swords in the void. The two divine objects became locked in a heated stalemate. At this moment, Shuling Chan's eyes flashed with bloodlight, his body releasing an outburst of divine power, and instantly he transformed from human form into his Blood Wing clan form. A giant bat. Transformed into his original form, Shuling Chan's combat power continued to rise and rise, instantly hitting the pinnacle of the upper immortal divine venerable. His colossal bat wings flapped violently as he charged directly at Yi Chun to kill him. The Blood Wing clan was originally the most powerful life lineage in the True Spirit Divine Kingdom. Shuling Chan was specially nurtured by the Blood Origin Divine Master. After his transformation, Shuling Chan was quite extraordinary. Every part of his body emitted blood-colored rays like sword blades. He was like a bat-shaped divine artifact designed to kill everything. If the Blood Origin Divine Master saw the bloodlight on Shuling Chan, he'd surely recognize that Shuling Chan had directly implemented the divine skill imparted by him from the cosmic sea. Heaven-slicing, earth-cleaving myriad forms divine skill. At the moment, with a killing intent entirely focused on Yi Chun, Shuling Chan released the divine skill imparted by the Blood Origin Divine Master. Seeing Shuling Chan transform to attack, with a killing force sharp to the extreme, Yi Chen's expression became extremely serious. Swish! 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 Yi Chen's mind and spirit moved instantly. His Tai divine power was invoked toward the Star's Tower. Instantly, the stellar power on the 5th floor of the Star's Tower surged out from within him like starlight, and finally, all infused into Yi Chun. Starring divine power flickered around Yi Chun, making him seem like a supreme god not belonging to this cosmos. Yi Chun clutched with his large hand. The stellar power converged directly into a star divine sword. Yi Chun wielded the divine sword, activating the origin slash, moving to meet the transformed Shuling Chan in battle. One was a prodigy with divine skills taught by the divine master. The other possessed the supreme divine art from the cosmic sea, a power among the strongest passed down by the Star Lord. The fact that Yi Chun had just cultivated the 5th chapter of the primordial star scripture, even though he hadn't fully completed the 5th chapter, and could only ignite the stellar power of one star among 7 doesn't matter. Facing the Blood Origin Divine Master's teachings, the Blood Wing clan's specially nurtured Shuling Chan, Yi Chun was fearless, daring to confront head-on. Moreover, Yi Chun steadily maintained the upper hand. Boom! Yi Chun's origin slash continually struck, causing Shuling Chan heart-wrenching pain repeatedly. The stellar power surging through Yi Chun's body enabled him to directly engage in physical combat, suppressing Shuling Chan and sending him flying backward. The two fought hundreds of moves in the void in an instant, forcing Shuling Chan to retreat tens of thousands of zhong. Chapter 999 – The second type of divine blood. This situation utterly terrified the two upper immortal divine venerables of the Blood Wing clan standing by. They could never have imagined that Shuling Chan, who had been carefully nurtured by the Blood Origin Divine Master and the Blood Wing clan, was no match for this divine king before them. If Shuling Chan had not only been at a disadvantage without any signs of already being defeated, the two might have already fled. Just as their hands and feet were turning cold with fear, they heard Shuling Chan's anxious voice. "The two of you join in. Let's join forces and kill him together. I still have my trump card that I've yet to use. If the three of us strike together, we can surely kill him." To their surprise, Shuling Chan sought help from the two upper immortal divine venerables, asking them to join him in besieging Yi Chun. Hearing Shuling Chan's words, the two upper immortal divine venerables of the Blood Wing clan were momentarily stunned and hesitated for a split second, but Shuling Chan's subsequent words immediately piqued their interest. Shuling Chan said, "This divine king has such power at his realm. He must have many treasures. After killing him, I'll let you each pick 3 items from him first. We get to choose the treasures first?" Picking treasures from this mysterious divine king? Their minds and spirits were stirred. They exchanged a glance and instantly decided, "Let's do it. We'll strike together. If things go wrong and we can't defeat this divine king, given Shuling Chan's current state, he can still hold on for a while, giving us a chance to escape and teleport to a safe area. If the three of us, along with Shuling Chan's trump card, successfully kill this divine king, it would be a huge gain. Let's do it." With this thought, the two upper immortal divine venerables of the Blood Wing clan unleashed their divine power, rolling out like waves of smoke. Both belonged to the top ranks in the Blood Wing clan among upper immortal divine venerables, not ordinary beings. They had even slain many other powerhouses before. Having decided to act, they certainly aimed for a kill shot. In an instant, both unleashed their strongest means. Both transformed into their most powerful combat forms, while one unleashed a divine artifact resembling a scythe, and the other launched several divine beads that seemed ready to explode. The next moment, both flashed toward Yi Chun. At the same time, continuously being blasted backward by Yi Chun's attacks, Shuling Chan's eyes flashed with divine light. Gritting his teeth, a third eye appeared on his large bat-like head. A golden flash appeared within it, from which a blood-red divine needle flew out directly aiming to kill Yi Chun. Instantly, Yi Chun was surrounded by the onslaught of the 3 powerful Blood Wing clan members. Under such circumstances, if it were anyone else, their face would surely change dramatically. But Yi Chun seemed to have anticipated this situation, and the method Yi Chun had not yet used this time he finally brought it out. This method was none other than the copper gong mallet technique. Bam! The copper gong flashed, and the wooden mallet struck. Something astonishing happened to Shuling Chan and the 2 upper immortal divine venerables of the Blood Wing clan. the two upper immortal divine venerables charging towards Yichun, along with the divine artifacts in their hands, were instantly and completely immobilized in the void as the copper gong mallet struck. Even Shuling Chan was immobilized in the void. The copper gong mallet was a divine object Yichun had obtained from the abandoned land of the prominent figures of the heavenly god mountain, and even though he couldn't fully wield all its divine might, it was still incredibly effective against the joint assault of the three. Yichun had not brought out this technique sooner, as he wanted to see what Shuling Chan could do as a divine king. Now surrounded by their combined attack, he finally unleashed it. Being immobilized by Yichun, Shuling Chan and the two upper immortal divine venerables of the Blood Wing clan were utterly horrified, their spirits crushed. They had thought that if they couldn't defeat Yichun, they could at least hold out for a moment and use the ancient heavenly cauldron order to teleport to safety. But they never anticipated that Yichun had such a powerful technique to immobilize them directly. At this point, they couldn't move, let alone use the ancient heavenly cauldron order to teleport away. If they had known it would turn out like this, those two upper immortal divine venerables from the Blood Wing clan would never have helped Shuling Chan against Yichun. If Shuling Chan had known it would turn out like this, he would never have tried to kill Yichun for treasures in the fifth realm. It's over, we're finished. Shuling Chan and the other two upper immortal divine venerables were instantly filled with despair. Yet at this moment, Yichun did not immediately kill the three of them, but instead focused his gaze on the blood-red divine needle that was Shuling Chan's last attack. At that moment, even though Shuling Chan was immobilized, the two upper immortal divine venerables were immobilized, and even the divine tower, contending with 1,001 flying swords, was immobilized. However, the blood-red divine needle managed to remain unfazed, continuing its assault toward Yichun. This divine needle is somewhat peculiar. For this divine object that Shuling Chan revealed at the last moment and could escape the control of the copper gong and wooden hammer, Yichun couldn't help but take a few more glances. Yet, although he felt peculiar, Yichun remained calm in the face of the blood-red divine needle coming at him. At that moment, with Shuling Chan immobilized, the divine needle seemed affected as well. Despite continuing its assault toward Yichun, its force was insufficient to cause Yichun any harm. With stellar power surging within Yichun, he quickly suppressed the blood-red divine needle, binding it within the void. Then, with a surge of divine soul power, Yichun erased the owner recognition divine sense left by Shuling Chan within the blood-red divine needle. The blood-red divine needle turned into an unowned object. Yichun then temporarily stored away the blood-red divine needle. Time was limited with the copper gong and wooden hammer's immobilization, and he still needed to quickly deal with Shuling Chan and the two upper immortal divine venerables from the Blood Wing clan, along with completing an important task. Exploring the divine might of the blood-red divine needle would have to wait. With this in mind, Yichun's gaze turned directly towards Shuling Chan and the other two immobilized in space. A stick of incense later, Shuling Chan and the two had completely vanished from this world, leaving behind a variety of items in front of Yichun. During this time, Yichun had eliminated Shuling Chan and the two on the spot, using blue extreme ice flame to burn their remains to ash. However, before executing them, Yichun first looted their belongings and performed a soul search on them. The items now arrayed before Yichun were the divine objects he retrieved from the three of them. Among these were items they originally carried with them before coming to the ancient forbidden grounds, as well as divine objects they scavenged from the ruins in the fourth domain. These were quite valuable treasures. But Yichun's attention wasn't on these items. Instead, it was on a small, crystalline bottle. Contained within this small, crystalline bottle were 100 drops of divine essence blood. If anyone saw this essence blood, exuding unique divine light, they would immediately recognize it as essence blood unique to the Blood Wing clan, the top-ranked among the 5 advanced life groups of the true spirit divine kingdom. These 100 drops of essence blood were the very ones Yichun extracted from Shuling Chan. Yichun had significant use for these 100 drops of Blood Wing clan essence blood. The Primordial Star Scripture 5th chapter, Tai chapter, required Yi-chan to gather essence blood of corresponding combat power levels from 7 types of advanced life groups to activate the 7 stars within the star disk on the 5th layer of the star's tower, thereby entering the 6th chapter of the primordial star scripture. This required 7 different advanced life groups' essence blood, with stipulations for essence blood from 1 being below the heavenly divine venerable level, 3 at the heavenly divine venerable level, 2 at the immortal divine venerable level, and 1 at the sovereign level. Previously, at the Supreme Divine Institute, Yi-chan defeated Xianchong from the advanced life group Snow Liao tribe and obtained the first Snow Liao tribe's heavenly divine venerable level essence blood. It was precisely this first drop of Snow Liao tribe's essence blood that activated one of the 7 stars, enabling him to draw upon the stellar power within. Now, Yi-chan could finally use the 2nd type of essence blood, Immortal Divine Venerable Level Combat Power Essence Blood from the Bloodwing clan, to activate the 2nd star within the star disk. Earlier, although Yi-chan had encountered members of the Bloodwing clan, he was with Kai Menger and others at the time, making it inconvenient to draw blood. Now, being alone in this domain, Yi-chan had no qualms and promptly acquired the Bloodwing clan essence blood. The deeper into the ancient forbidden grounds I go, the more dangerous it becomes. It seems I need to activate the 2nd star sooner to access more stellar power. The more stellar power I draw, the more potent my combat power will become, aiding me in breaching the more perilous domains ahead. Although Yi-chan successfully killed Shuling Chan in battle, he remains ever vigilant. On one hand, Shuling Chan's combat power is not vastly inferior to his, prompting Yi-chan to stay wary of others. On the other hand, the blood-red divine needle acquired from Shuling Chan makes Yi-chan aware that the copper gong and wooden hammer at their current stage can't immobilize everything. Encountering something that can evade the immobilization of the copper gong and wooden hammer and is more formidable than the blood-red divine needle, the copper gong and wooden hammer alone won't suffice. Other means will be necessary. Thus, increasing stellar power is, of course, Yi-chan's most effective current strategy. Through soul search within Shuling Chan's memories, I learned that his divine needle was a gift from a significant figure known as the Blood Origin Divine Master. This gifted him with numerous means, allowing him to withstand me for a moment. Moreover, according to Shuling Chan's divine soul memories, there's another Bloodwing clan woman named Blood Flying Yen who also received teachings and a divine artifact from the Blood Origin Divine Master, and she's even stronger than Shuling Chan. Likely, I'll encounter Blood Flying Yen in the 6th domain. Clearly, I must further enhance my capabilities before completing my mission, Yi-chan murmured as he gazed at the first ice pool, not yet fully turned silver. Chapter 1000-2 People. Acting immediately. Seeing that the water of the first ice pool has completely transformed into silver, but still needs some time, Yi-chan calmed his mind and directly arrived at the 5th floor of the star's tower once again. Then, Yi-chan directly dripped the 100 drops of essence blood of the Bloodwing tribe that arrived with his divine soul onto the star disk composed of 7 stars in the void on the 5th floor. Boom! The familiar situation occurred once again. When he first dripped the heavenly divine venerable grade essence blood of the Snow Liao tribe, Yi-chan directly triggered a faint golden star among the 7 stars to emit an aura. This time, after dripping the upper immortal divine venerable grade essence blood of the Bloodwing tribe into the star disk, Yi-chan finally triggered the 2nd star in the star disk, a purple gold star. This star emitted a purple gold aura, completely enveloping Yi-chan within it. Yi-chan had activated the star disk before and knew that once a star is activated, it can directly cause the Tai divine power in his body to undergo special changes, thereby triggering the starry origin within the corresponding star. The more stars activated, the higher the quality of Tai divine power becomes, and the more powerful the starry origin it can trigger. The last time he activated the first star, Yi-chan directly elevated the quality of his Tai divine power to a faint golden color, enabling him to trigger the starry origin within the star that emitted a faint golden aura. This time, illuminated by the purple gold star's aura, Yi-chan's Tai divine power began adding a 2nd color, purple gold color, to the faint golden hue. Once the infusion was complete, Yi Chun found that he could indeed simultaneously mobilize the starry origin within both stars, especially with the newly accessible second purple gold star. Yi Chun discovered, perhaps due to the stronger divine blood absorbed by this star, that the starry origin within the second purple gold star was several dozen times more powerful than the starry origin within the first faint golden star. This made Yi Chun utterly ecstatic. After adjusting himself to the accessible starry origin, Yi Chun's divine soul returned to his body directly. Sitting cross-legged, Yi Chun opened his eyes directly. Just like the starry origin in the first star, the starry origin in the second star cannot be used freely. It must be wielded through self-created techniques. Luckily, back then, in order to use the starry origin within the first star, I specifically created the Origin Battle 3 forms, which can also drive the second type of starry origin. Let's try and see how much my combat power has increased. Thinking of this, the Tai divine power within Yi Chun directly directed itself toward the starry origin within the purple gold star in the star's tower. Instantly, purple gold light enveloped Yi Chun entirely. Yi Chun flew into the void, his hand making a slight grip, and a divine sword composed of purple gold starry origin materialized directly in his grasp. Yi Chun wielded the divine sword, starting his trial of techniques. Origin/first form, Origin/second form, Origin/third form. The first time, Yi Chun only used the starry origin from the second star to drive it, while the second time, Yi Chun harnessed the starry origin from both the first and second stars. After a long while, Yi Chun finally ceased his trial. With the starry origin from the second star, I feel my combat power has increased several dozen times. Combined with the starry origin from the two stars, it's even more. I have a feeling that under these circumstances, my combat power might have surpassed the level of the immortal divine venerable, and could probably contend with an ordinary one-star sovereign. Yi Chun had a suspicion in his heart. This suspicion brought Yi Chun great joy. Although Yi Chun hadn't yet fought with a true one-star sovereign, he could clearly feel the enhancement in his combat capabilities. This enhancement made Yi Chun feel even more assured in confronting the unknown, ancient forbidden grounds. Yi Chun did not know. At the time he experimented with the new starry origin, in the deepest part of the ancient forbidden grounds, the eminent woman in the 18th ancient temple, who noticed him before he arrived at the ancient forbidden grounds, opened her beautiful eyes once again while still seated. This eminent woman, although she had continuously cultivated in the 18th ancient temple, had simultaneously left a trace of divine sense, observing Yi Chun's adventure in the ancient forbidden grounds. At this moment, upon seeing the second type of starry origin on Yi Chun's body, the eminent woman joyfully exclaimed, "That's the feeling of Master's divine origin. Another kind of Master's divine origin has appeared on this boy. This boy is definitely Master's heir." Thinking of this, the eminent woman's breath became rapid. No, something must have happened to Master, otherwise she couldn't have transmitted her divine skills to this universe, nor directly accepted a new heir. No, I must quickly break through to the Star Lord realm, for only by breaking through to the Star Lord realm can I completely seal the eye of the demon here, leave this place, and go find this divine king boy for answers, and then return to the cosmic sea to see Master. The eminent woman deeply breathed a few times before glancing at Yi Chun in the fifth territory several times. Then, as if resolving herself to something, her entire cultivation level altered drastically. This eminent woman even recalled the trace of divine sense she used to observe Yi Chun, immersing herself entirely in a mysterious state of cultivation. Yi Chun did not know that deep in the ancient forbidden grounds lay 18 ancient temples. Nor did he know that within the temple was an eminent woman of cosmic emperor realm that could shock the universe. He also did not know that this woman had a significant connection to him and to the ZG Star Lord. At this moment, Yi Chun, having experimented with the star power origin, frowned. The first three forms of the origin I created are somewhat inadequate in fully utilizing the dual star power origins. It seems that I need to continue creating further moves for the origin based on the situation of the star power origin. With a thought, Yi Chun's divine soul returned to the star's tower to begin a new bout of cultivation. More than half a day later, Yi-chun woke up from his cultivation. Touched by the sensation, he sensed the water in the leftmost ice pool had completely turned silver, prompting him to emerge from his state of cultivation. The water in the ice pool turning silver means that the weakest class, Snow Flame Toad, is finally about to appear. With a thought, Yi-chun stood up from his seated cultivation position and directed his gaze towards the leftmost ice pool. This time, Yi-chun didn't have to wait long before a peculiar, palm-sized silver toad shot out from the ice pool, charging at him. Just what I wanted. Yi-chun's combat power was already enough to kill the Snow Flame Toad, and now his battle strength had further increased. As soon as the Snow Flame Toad flew out, spitting a ball of silver flame toward him, Yi-chun directly pointed a finger, and a sword light of origin slash instantly shredded both the Snow Flame Toad and its silver flame on the spot. Then Yi-chun threw the corpse of the weakest level Snow Flame Toad into the second ice pool. Next, a second weakest level Snow Flame Toad spat out a slightly fiercer silver flame and flew from the second ice pool to attack Yi-chun, and so on. Half a day later, Yi-chun completed the task of the 9 ice pools, killing the Snow Flame Toad that appeared in the highest level middle ice pool. Moreover, he consecutively killed 9. Following this, Yi-chun threw the corpses of the 9 highest level Snow Flame Toads into the middle ice pool. Not long after, the 5th type of 9 profound threads awaited by Yi-chun, the silver 9 profound thread with 9 spots, finally flew out from the ice pool and landed in his hand. The 5th exotic beast, Snow Flame Toad, is indeed more formidable than the 4th exotic beast, God-devouring caterpillar, especially the highest level, Snow Flame Toad, whose spouted silver flame is much stronger than my blue extreme ice flame. However, it posed no threat to me. Even without activating the second star, I could still pass this place. Successfully slayed several Snow Flame Toads, acquiring the 5th beast spirit and the 5th type of 9 profound threads. It's time to prepare for the 6th domain. The 5th domain was divided into 3 parallel spaces, while the 6th domain will only have a single space. All those who reach the 6th domain will encounter each other. I wonder how many people can enter the 6th domain. Once I further comprehend a newly self-created form of the origin slash, I'll enter the 6th domain. After completing the tasks of the 5th domain, Yi-chun murmured to himself and began cultivation anew. A day later, Yi-chun left the 5th domain and officially entered the 6th domain. In the other 2 parallel spaces. In the parallel space of the 3 upper immortal divine venerables of the 9 Flames clan, things weren't as smooth as for Yi-chun. Even though they were considered absolute upper immortal divine venerables elites in the 9 Flames clan, when they dealt with the Snow Flame Toad in the 8th ice pool, they felt tremendous pressure. Moreover, the strongest level Snow Flame Toad directly killed one of the 3, severely injuring the other 2 in the battle. If they hadn't rushed out of the vicinity of the ice pool, and the few Snow Flame Toads hadn't pursued them, the remaining 2 might have died in this parallel space. In the end, the remaining 2 of the 9 Flames clan were dejectedly transmitted to the safe zone, completely giving up competing for the unsurpassed divine fire. No one from this parallel space entered the 6th domain. Besides this parallel space and Yi-chun's parallel space, the 3rd parallel space was occupied by Fei Yen and the 4 Bloodwing clan members' parallel space. The 4 were similarly slaughtering Snow Flame Toads. However, each of the 4 faced attacks from a Snow Flame Toad, and in the end, only Blood-Flying Yen managed to kill the strongest level Snow Flame Toad, successfully completing the tasks of obtaining the Beast Spirit and the 9 profound threads. Interestingly, even when Blood-Flying Yen injured several Snow Flame Toads, allowing the other 3 to complete their tasks, it seemed they couldn't help each other. Once the Snow Flame Toads turned to face the others, they immediately regained their full combat power. In such circumstances, the other members simply couldn't cope. Moreover, the Snow Flame Toads slain by Blood-Flying Yen didn't count toward the others. In the end, these few were unable to obtain the Beast Spirit of the Snow Flame Toad, preventing them from being transmitted into the 6th domain. Finally, in this parallel space, only Blood-Flying Yen entered the 6th domain, while the others reluctantly retreated back to the safe zone. When Yi-chun and Blood-Flying Yen entered the 6th domain, after others either died or were transmitted back to the safe zone, all in the safe zone once again saw the screen flash. This time, it clearly stated that only 2 people had entered the 6th domain.